Hello, and welcome to the Humanity, where we do the things with the stuff for the people. I am Matt.
And I'm Tommy, and tonight we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Kyle Butler.
Howdy,
Say
howdy.
hello. Hello. Oh, and Spooky Bed Hair. Hello.
There's already
All right.
people here. My
I
goodness.
know. Nervous now. Jeez. All right. So yeah, welcome to the show, Kyle. I'm trying to think how I first got introduced to you, or like became aware of you, like on the social media sphere. Probably like most people like you was probably through Derek Day.
Probably.
Yeah, that's kind of how I know a lot of people these days. But yeah, I've been following Kyle for probably a few years now,
Yeah.
and I'll let you like absolutely like introduce yourself here in a sec. But yeah, from what I understand, like yeah, former pastor,
Right.
deconverted,
hmm
um, yeah, just putting a lot of really cool messages out there about yeah, just being like very like self positive, self care, self love.
Mhm.
Obviously outward love, and I was like, this guy just seems like a really cool guy to talk to. So, on top of just thinking you'd be a lot of fun to have on the show, honestly, is like I just kind of wanted to talk to you. So this was like my excuse to actually meet and talk. So and having like several of my neurodivergences like introversion and autism, like I can't just talk to a person. I have to have some kind of weird structure, like having a podcast and have them on as a guest. That's how I work. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, anything else? I'm trying to think if there was any more just little random banter and updates that we had, but I don't think so. So also, Kyle, the way we usually start the show is just by, I don't know if you have any um, losing my words. Sorry. Yeah. So if we usually start by just introducing, like, if we're having anything to drink, or so I don't know if you have anything handy, or
I don't have anything. I have my water, but I
that's a
should have
good
been better
choice.
prepared. I'm not much of a drinker.
That's all right.
I drink socially here and there. I've got
Mm-hmm.
a couple of hard mics in the fridge. I can go grab one of those, but that's all I have
Only
right
if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
now.
No pressure at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't give you a very much advance warning on that, but yeah, for me tonight, starting with the Sierra Nevada Torpedo West Coast IPA. So uh, electric. I don't know what makes it electric, but they put the word on there, and there
So
it
I've
is.
got a Vienna smoked lager, which I've never had before.
Ooh.
I've had smoked stuff before. Germany makes a lot of good, really smoked beers. In particular, in one place I can't remember, but the brewery is in the basement of an old abbey or something. Uh, and the beer tastes like the basement of that place, but it's good.
Sounds lovely. Um, but yeah, also before we like let Kyle like get into his story and introduce himself, I figured since there may be some people who kind of follow Kyle who may be joining us and aren't familiar with us, just figured super brief intro to us and our show.
Yeah.
And I'll let Matt speak for himself. But yeah, I'm former Christian, grew up like was Christian until about I was probably about 38 years old. Um, Grew up very conservative, fundamentalist Baptist. Became a little more like kind of mainline, a little more charismatic evangelical, like in my mid late 20s, early 30s. Started deconstructing pretty heavily, then contracted stage 4 cancer, survived, and in the aftermath of that, just kind of reevaluating everything, lost my faith and became an atheist. And so here I am. And then Matt.
Yeah, shotgun version is that's not a thing. I think I just made that up. So I grew up Catholic. I didn't get confirmed. If you're not Catholic, you don't know what that is. That's when you like really want to be Catholic. Up until then, you're doing it because your family is Catholic and all that. And I thought it was stupid because I was learning all the stuff, and you had to learn the stuff in order to be able to say you wanted to be Catholic, and I thought that was dumb. So I was just out at that point. Got back into it later, non-denominational stuff. My wife ended up working for a local mega church, which was a blessing, and then went like real bad, real fast. And then during that process, I was also deconstructing because seeing just like behind the scenes garbage, um, I was started questioning everything else I had on a pedestal, uh, beliefs, knowledge, places, people. Just wanted to know what was really going on, and that led me closer to God. Like I got closer and closer and closer, and then it was like the end of the Truman Show where he walks out the door. You get to the edge of the illusion, and that's when the real stuff starts. That's when like the real journey starts. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Tommy and I were both involved in a healing and deliverance kind of ministry. Saw stuff happen.
Yeah.
And stuff happened for me. So, like, we're not strangers to a wide variety of stuff. So when everybody says something like, "Oh, have you heard this?" or "What about this argument?" or "This happened for me," and I'm like, "Look, I didn't just flake out and become an atheist one day. Like, there was a process. I didn't want to be."
Yeah, we were enjoying it. But speaking of weird things, looks like a spooky bed here. It's either drinking the blood of your enemies or coffee, or it could be both. I don't know.
Yeah,
enemies can be weird. Coffee. Yeah. Yeah, so for the people who maybe know Kyle but not us, that's us. But now for the people who know us but maybe not Kyle, Kyle, like I said, floor is yours. Tell us like as little or as much as you want about your backstory, like who you are, why you're at where you are now, and me or Matt may interject here and there with like questions or whatever. But yeah, basically, floor is yours, man.
Well, let me start by saying, Tommy, Matt, thanks for having me. I know Tommy through social media, Facebook specifically, and I enjoy your content. I enjoy your perspective and your point of view and your candor and your rawness. As you mentioned earlier, I think we met through Derek Day, and I was a huge Derek Day fan before we became friends, and I'd see his stuff all over Facebook, and then we became Facebook friends, and then eventually we became brothers. So Derek's someone that's very close to my heart, and we spent
Derek's
time
awesome.
together. Yeah, real cool dude. But and then Matt, I'm just meeting you for the first time, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on and chit chat and get to know you a little bit as well.
Well, if you like me, you'll probably like him. So
I'm sure I will.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Well, from what I've hear already and see, I already do. So,
Okay.
my story is probably very similar to both of you, with maybe one exception that I was actually a pastor. And when I say actually a pastor, that doesn't mean that you guys were nobodies. Because even when I was a pastor, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like I was this, and everybody else was this. I never felt that way. So I just include that part because, people find it hard to believe that pastors walk away,
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, and I did it because my integrity to myself could no longer allow me to stay in an environment that I didn't believe in anymore. And I could have kept the church. I could have kept preaching around the country as I was, and accepting engagements, and I could today go stand in front of people and give them a feel good Jesus loves you, God is the greatest message on the planet. I can give you that today. But what I can't do is look these people in the eye and give them hope for something I know they'll never obtain. That I can't do. And I think that's really what broke it for me, is after watching this whole story my entire life, being an observer that I am, watching this, um, trying to always convince myself that it was actually helping people, that it was actually good. I just couldn't keep the facade up anymore. And, slowly but surely, one thought led to another thought, led to another thought, led to another thought. And I was like, none of this bullshit makes any sense. And Once I hit
Yeah.
that place, I'm the kind of person, if I believe something, I believe it, you know? And I
Yep.
believed what I believed when I believed it, but I no longer believe it. So I couldn't stay there. I couldn't be true to myself and stay there. And the most, I think, interesting part is now I really get a sense that I'm actually helping people today. And
Yeah.
I never felt that way when I was a pastor. Never.
Wow.
And I think it's
Yeah.
hard to feel that you're really helping people because you're just recycling messages.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah.
original there.
Yeah. You're
There's
not allowed to
nothing.
Mhm.
improvise.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
and you,
Yeah, because if I'm thinking back to like most of the things that I heard like in church growing up, like if it was like something actually super helpful and impactful, most of the time, as I remember, they're kind of going a little like extra biblical, like kind of bringing in their own perspective from like outside the Bible, outside
Yeah.
church tradition, or whatever the case may be. But real quick, I guess Kip Davis here, like yes, that's exactly what it means. Non-pastoring nobodies. I don't know if you're familiar with Kip Davis. Like he's a like Dead Sea Scrolls Hebrew biblical scholar. He has a YouTube channel. And Kip, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you a former? I think I remember you saying at one point you were a pastor as well. But
Well, that's a lore I didn't know about.
yeah, yeah. Also, Kip, also former believer. But yeah, but if you or anyone else out there is interested in biblical scholarship type things, definitely recommend Kip's channel. But yeah, but anyway.
Yep.
so for me, the choice to walk away became easier and easier the more I started to uncover the I guess the fallacies and the beliefs.
Mm.
Obviously I'm black, so you know
Oh,
we have a little we may have a little different type of experience in our community with
mm,
Christianity. There
probably.
is a tremendous amount of hope and trust that we try to push into people to believe in Jesus and trust God for your healing, for your finances, for your peace, for your joy. Everything is Jesus centric. I grew up in a home that was incredibly Jesus centric, incredibly trust God centric, and incredibly devil centric. So, you didn't know any other world outside of this if you were really going to get into it. And I was always the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and give it everything I have. And I did that. And I tell people this all the time. Yeah, sure. What didn't happen for me was disappointing. Like, so you take all the accumulated words I've received over the years, all the God's going to do this and God's going to do this and this is going to happen and this is going to happen and the Lord's going to bless your ministry and all those things that didn't happen for me, particularly, that wasn't what drove me away. What drove me away is what wasn't happening for the people I watched and I was around. The suffering and the
Mm,
hurting
hmm.
people that had
Right.
built their entire life on trust God, believe God, God will do it, God will fix it, God will help you, God will make it better. That's huge in a black community. And maybe because, for so long in our history, that's all we had, you know. All we had was trust God. He'll make it better. He'll fix it. Won't he do it? Those kind of things. That's really all we had to hold on to. And although he didn't, time fixed things for us, and time is will continue to fix things for humanity, I believe. Although he
Mhm.
didn't, we attribute it to a God. And I was always
Right.
troubled by coming out of church and when I was younger, and they would say, the older people would be saying stuff, oh my God, we had an awesome time. God really moved. Oh, the power of God fell and all this kind of stuff. And I'd be looking around trying to remember when any of that happened. What did I fall asleep today? Like I don't remember. I remember people dancing around the building, shouting or catching the spirit as we called it. I remember that. I remember the music being crazy. I remember that. I remember, people speaking in tongues and falling out. I remember that. But I was looking for something powerful, you know. And I never saw it, and so I think it's those kind of things that started me to really become disillusioned from it, because I I care about people, you know, and I wanted to see people's lives really get better. And I would preach what I believe were messages based on the word, the promises of God, what you can acquire through faith, and how this is God's way, and kingdom based messages. And, you know, everything I thought was God's way that would help us get better and be better. And only God can do it in kind of ways, but it never materialized. And I just couldn't stand in front of people anymore and give them that kind of false hope. And so that was one of the biggest reasons why I had to walk away, and I'm no longer a pastor today, and I have no desire to be.
Wow.
Once you walked away, how did, or once you realized that you couldn't teach anymore and that it wasn't really bringing the hope and the healing, how did you feel about having told people that for so long?
I felt really bad. You know, that bothered me for a long time, and I've been fortunate enough to still stay closely connected with most of the people that I pastor. Uh,
Wow.
and I've maybe most of them I've apologized in some ways, and not necessarily from a perspective that I thought I did something so wrong, because I did believe it. You know,
Yeah.
one
Right.
example, I had never really been a tither, you know, so I never really liked it. You know, I did work when I was a pastor, and at one point I became very successful in the mortgage industry, and I would get bonuses, you know, monthly, seven, eight, nine, $10,000, and I would be thinking about 10%. I'm like, God, I am not writing you a $700 check. That's not happening. I give you three. You ain't getting seven.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
you know, I'll go to tell you, you ain't getting seven. You know, you
Yeah.
get three and be happy.
Yeah.
So, you know,
You get 3 and like it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
his money anyway. He already had it, so why do you have to give it
yeah,
back? It's already
exactly.
his.
Yeah.
What are you
You
doing?
know,
Yeah. If he
I'm
wants it, he
asking
can
stuff
come
like,
get it.
mine,
Yeah.
mine, it's all mine, it's all mine.
Yeah. Just tell God if you want it, come get it. Yeah.
But at some point,
Yeah.
I've been told by other pastors, you know, God's never really going to bless your ministry. God's never really going to bless your church until you learn how to tithe and you teach your people how to tithe. And around 2007, I was really getting into the word of faith. Like, you know, I told myself that, Kyle, God's word is the key, and you've never learned how to trust God's word. You never learned how to just stand on God's word alone. And so I started diving into the word of faith very heavily. And, I started saying, okay, God, I've been a horrible tithe all these years. I've never taught the people how to tithe, and I'm going to really teach them how to tithe. So anyway, I was doing this series, this 6-week series on tithing. I made this pamphlet and this booklet and the whole thing, and I'm going point by point, pulling out every scripture and everything, doing this, what I thought was a phenomenal teaching.
Yep.
One of my members came up to me and said, you know, I hear what you're saying, but, you know, there's rich people who don't tithe and they're doing okay. So what do you got to say about that?
I like this person.
Yeah. And I was full of righteous indignation. I was hot as I could be. Inside, I wanted to say, sit your ass down, shut the fuck up. I'm the pastor. You don't know shit. That's what I wanted to say. You know?
Man, you say that, I'll go to your church. Start talking like that. But
That's what I
mix
wanted to
that
say.
mix that, like the pastor like throwing out language like that with someone in the congregation being that bold. Like, that's my kind of church.
Yeah.
But speaking of showing up, Jimmy, how's it going, buddy?
Hello, Jimmy.
But yeah, like something you said there, like, and I don't know why this just occurred to me as you said it, but that whole idea of like, okay, God's not going to bless your ministry until you teach your people how to tithe. I'm like, that's kind of a like, well, duh. I mean, you tell people to give you money, that's going to be a good thing for what you're doing. So
Yeah,
like,
and then God will
of
bless you
course.
financially.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you know? Weird how that
Yeah.
works.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah. But also, real quick, I guess to clear up the lore, like Kip wasn't actually a pastor, just started training for the ministry, didn't go very far, but he is still consummate troll, and we love you for that, buddy. So,
Or that he went special forces, and so he had to go like underground with his training.
Ah.
You know,
ooh, that makes
he had to go dark.
uh, yeah,
I've been listening to
yes,
UFO podcasts, probably too much lately, so that's where my brain is.
makes sense. But yeah, well, thanks for not missing tonight, Jimmy. Glad you're here, buddy. So where were you?
Yes. So I wanted to tell that member that, but I didn't. So what I told her was,
Right.
well, you know what? You'll see. Watch my life. Watch what God's going to do in my life, because now I'm doing this, and you'll see for yourself, and then you'll know, right? Well, as it turned out, God never did his part, as usual. You know, God was a no-show. You know, and so a few years after that, you know, we had ended the church, and I was coming to my senses. I was, you know, becoming, you know, normal. I called her and I said, "Remember that time?" You know, and she was like, "Yeah." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And she's like, "I was trying to tell you. I was trying to tell you."
So,
Well, here's to her. That's awesome.
yeah. So when you said that to her, did you think like God would deliver on that, or were you just like were you saying it and realizing while you're saying it like I can't like no I can't take this back like
No, I believed it. I believed that was God's way. You know, it was part of the kingdom way, that
mm-hmm.
this is how God blesses his people. You trust God with what he's asking for, and he, because he's faithful, he will do his part, you know. And like I said, you know, in the Black community, there's a lot of struggle. And I'm not saying that's separate from any other community, but I've been in white churches for a considerable period of time when I was in New Jersey. And I don't necessarily like throwing around the black white, but just for, you know, illustration purposes.
Yeah.
I was in a white church for most of my high school years. We attended a white church in Virginia. Beautiful people, obviously. But I grew up in black churches. I've spent a lot of time in Hispanic churches as well. And if I would be able to point out the differences between the two, black and Hispanic churches are very similar, very similar. A lot of you know, poor, suffering, you know, people that are desperate, you know, for something, desperate for help in a way. Not all, but you know, there is a good percentage of people like that. Obviously, religion targets a certain group of people. Not to say you can't be educated or you know, financially secure and not be influenced by religion, because obviously, you know, people like that are. But the bulk of the congregations are probably people that are just trying to survive on a day-to-day basis. And so when I linked in with the Word of Faith, I was super charged with the hope of this is going to really help us. You know, this for every single person who follows my lead. And what I mean by that was I was going to lead by example. You know, I was going to take faith by the horns and trust God with everything I had and walk the walk of faith and say, hey guys, you saw me before. Now look at me now. And I owe all this to the faith walk, because I trusted God. I believed God. I did it his way. I followed his plan. And God is no respecter of persons. He did it for me. I've lived this out in front of you. You know, for those of you that bit early and kept going, you see your life is changing too. Now the rest of you join in, because the same thing can happen for you. That's what I earnestly, honestly, and desperately believe, that it will change our lives in the way that we preach it and we teach it and the songs we sing talk about it. But it didn't, you know. And 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I was 8 years into it, giving it an incredible amount of faith given it an incredible amount of dedication and passion and commitment, and I had refused to quit. I had refused to give up, and I was suffering. I was suffering great losses all around me. I was suffering because I thought that this also was God's way. You got to suffer a little bit before you can get the blessing, before God can trust
Yeah.
you. You know, all that kind of stuff. I rolled up my sleeves. I'm like, okay, I'm in, whatever it takes. And after 8 years of that, I said one day, God, either you are incredibly slow at blessing people, or I'm doing something incredibly wrong. And I wasn't ready to admit at that point that it was all a sham. I was just ready to gaslight myself like we always did,
Right.
right?
That's the
Yes.
So if
go-to
it didn't
move.
happen,
Yeah.
it's our fault. We didn't pray enough. We didn't fast
Right.
enough. We didn't study enough. We didn't attend church enough. We didn't worship enough. It's always our fault, you know.
Yeah.
The
Never
pastor's
God's, even
telling
though he's
you,
in charge of
God will
everything.
do it for you.
Yeah.
God will bless you. God will heal you. God will set you free. And we're saying, yes, amen, amen. And then as soon as we go after it, well, you know, God doesn't always do what, you know. And then you have to
Mysterious
gaslight
ways.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
You have to gaslight
Hmm.
yourself to make you have to excuse God.
Yep.
It can't be God. It has to be you. There's sin in
Yeah.
the house. You don't got your shit together. You're still not faithful enough. You're still not dedicated enough. And after 8 years, if I had a way to show people visibly through a movie of what happened during those 8 years, what I was doing on a daily basis as far as my faith walk, what I was perceiving on a daily basis because of my faith walk, which was nothing, you think you were one delusional motherfucker. I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with you? Because that's what I often say to
Yeah.
myself, and that's what my closest family was saying at the same time behind the scene. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Kyle? You're fucking up your whole life. You're better than this. No one understood it. No one understood why I had taken this dive so deep and abandoned me and abandoned my life and my goals and my
Mm.
dreams and my passion. No one understood it, but I thought I understood it. I thought this is what I had to do
Yeah.
to get the greater part of God. This is what I thought I had to do.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you. Well, you kind of answered it. What that suffering cost you? Like the surrender and the faithing it so hard. Um, like so it sounded like it cost you opportunities or a life that didn't need to be that difficult.
Right. Yeah, that part, the
Yeah.
life that. Well, um, I when I was a young pastor, right? I grew up in the church in several churches, and they were smaller churches, but the 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 push was always we got to get the pastor off his job. He needs to be committed
Mm.
full time to ministry, and that's what I always believe that if you're a pastor, you're working for the Lord, you are to commit yourself full time. We use the illustration, or we use the story of Jesus to the disciples when he's picking his 12, and they're out there working. Though if I was preaching or teaching, I'd say they were out there working and they're minding their own business. They had businesses. And Jesus came to them and said, come follow me. I'll take care of you. Just come with me. I'll take care of you. Leave that stuff alone. This is not your life. I'm your life now. And I would preach it and teach it and say, through those 3.5 years, you see no moment where they struggled with anything because they were with Jesus. Jesus took care of them. This is the path for pastors and leaders. You have to be willing to leave everything and follow Jesus. You can take Abraham's story. When this God supposedly comes to Abraham and says, leave everything, leave it all. you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
follow me. Well, where we going? Don't worry about it. Well, I don't understand it. You don't have to understand it. Just walk by faith. So I lost, it cost me life in a great way. I lost my home. I lost my car. I lost everything that was important to me in a material world, um, because I said and I believe that God needed to test me, and I needed to prove to God that I'm willing to trust Him through the hardest moments. And I was willing to do that, you know. And through the journey, I kept getting words from other pastors and preachers and friends and people that would just come to me and say, keep doing what you're doing. God sees your faith. God's going to reward you, so on and so forth. Inside, I was dying,
Mm.
you know.
Yep.
Inside, I was absolutely miserable. I'd go outside sometimes at night by myself, look up to the sky, see the moon, and start crying. Like, God, I don't understand. I, I don't understand why you're not doing something. Why aren't you helping me, God? And then I'd apologize. God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be down you. I'm so sorry, God. I was having a moment. Please forgive me. There was a lot of that kind of stuff. I remember one time I was walking to get some coffee. I was walking to Dunkin' Donuts, my morning routine. I was going to get some coffee. And I was like, God, I'm a little confused here. Maybe you can help me out. A little confused, you know? I'm a pastor, you know? I'm not asking you for much, but maybe you can give me a couple of speaking engagements a month at least. I mean, that can help, right? I mean, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Right?
I was
Something.
always groveling and begging.
Mm.
And I was living so far beneath me. This
Mm.
wasn't me. This wasn't anywhere near me. I started working entrepreneurially when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I was learning how to make money at 8 years old, and was doing pretty good at it too. I had dreams and goals personally of climbing a corporate ladder or becoming a millionaire. I wanted to be successful so I can help people financially. That was my passion. That was my heart. That's always been my passion, always been my heart.
Nice.
When life started pointing to God had this call on my life, you know, and I was also, well, I don't want to keep talking if you guys want to jump in with something with
Oh no,
questions,
that's all good.
but
Yeah.
I tell people this: the two biggest moves that I made towards God were all fear based. So
Yep.
Ooh.
at 13, because I was raised in a hell culture. So at 13, the age of accountability, they say that by 12 you're okay, but after 12, you get 13, something
Mm.
happens to you and you didn't get saved, you're going to hell. So the
Yes, that's
Sunday,
interesting. I heard you talking about that in that interview with Leslie because I grew up with the whole like age of accountability thing. But the thing
Mhm.
is, they never gave me a number, so I was like
Yeah.
always like, "Crap, am I there yet?" So I just, yeah. So at
Yeah.
least
It
they
was a
gave you a number. That's something. That's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It
it
was
was
a shell
12 for,
game.
for our group of understanding because that they say with Jesus, he was 12 years old when he first understood his calling or
Oh,
something
that's
like that.
interesting. That's actually
Yeah,
a decent way to do it.
yeah,
However, like
yeah.
13 though,
It's
that's puberty time. Like you
yeah.
can't think through anything real well. So how are you going to be
right.
accountable for
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Plus,
eternity?
and,
That's
and
garbage.
and as we all know, like everyone develops at the same rate
Right.
cognitively,
yeah,
and like everyone is at the same level at 13 years old. Like,
right,
it's like
right, right.
Like if you have intellectual disabilities, are you never accountable? Like, like my daughter has intellectual disabilities, and yeah, I didn't want to have that conversation with anybody when we were at the church
Hmm.
where they wanted me to try to convince her to like be a Christian or follow Jesus. I wouldn't. I wouldn't like it's not fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, it's better to let her figure out like what she needs in that regard.
yeah,
Because I don't know. Yeah, that's just dumb. I don't, and I know like depending on where we were, they could have really like pounced on that and tried to like convince her because she's an easy target
hmm,
in that regard.
yeah,
Just like they pounce on people who are hurting.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah,
yeah, yeah.
When you were talking about something I noticed when I was listening to your
real
story.
quick before
Yeah, go
real
ahead.
quick before you get into that, we've had a question from the chat I've been like sitting on for a while. I want to make sure we get to real quick. But Spooky Bedhair asks, like, is Kyle a member of the Clergy Project? They help and support ministers who have left their church. Kyle, have you heard of this? I know
I've
I've
heard
heard
of
of it.
it.
I'm not.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have heard of it, but I'm not part of it.
Yeah, but there is. I think I remember you mentioning before. There's some kind of YouTube show called like
Yes.
former pastors call-in show or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like
Ex
that.
pastor
Yeah,
call-in show. Yes.
ex
Yeah.
pastor call-in show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, it was me and
Okay.
Durante Lamar. We were doing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for a while, and so but we did it for about a year, and
Oh, okay.
it was some fun. We had fun.
Cool. Might have to look that up. Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with Durante. Like, I think I subscribed to his channel recently. Started watching some of his stuff. But puts out some good stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Sorry,
was-
Matt. Back to your word.
Oh yeah.
And
So when I was watching the interview of yours earlier today, and just hearing you talk about it now, suffering comes up a lot more in the faith context you came from than I think in like the mega church that Tommy and I most recently were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a sense that is probably something white churches in prosperous areas really don't talk about much.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me that like that's exactly the suffering well is exactly the kind of thing that like white people would teach to slaves.
Yeah.
And
well, it was part of that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate that so much. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, just suffering until you make it. It's just terrible. Because I was thinking earlier when I was picking up beer that just quickly reflecting on all the stuff that I'm something you said in the interview I watched. You said that you are now the person you wanted to be when you were a believer.
Yeah.
And that hit me. And I was thinking later that like all the stuff that I could have gotten through in a healthier way and probably more quickly if I had asked the question, like, what can I do? Like, where am I not caring about myself, or what lies about me am I believing, instead of looking to like a hierarchy to tell me who I am.
Right.
Surrendering is not free will. Also,
No.
you're
Right.
surrendering your free will. You
Yeah.
don't have it anymore.
No.
Yeah. So you're using your free will to give it up, but still, free will is important for something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there was, man, like I said, it's so many things like as you're talking, like both now and like I said, we're from that interview. I feel like we should I should probably go back and like put that interview in the show description because we keep referencing it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good stuff.
It was also interesting where she was coming from, also, because you were clearly in different. She had deconstructed to one point, and you had kind of deconstructed past that point.
Yeah,
was the sense I got.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Also, I pick up on people's like tension in their voice like really easily.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in an alcoholic family, codependent. That's probably why. And you would say certain things that would challenge her, and then she would respond with the same words she had been saying before, but there was like a little bit of tightness in her voice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that sense that you were kind of saying things that were
I think
that she might not be exactly comfortable with?
Yeah, I try to, because I do a lot of interviews, and I've done shows and things like that. So I always try to be I always try to present what I'm saying from my perspective and my experience, not as true, right? Because as when I was a pastor, you have to present it as truth, right? God showed you, God told you, this is the way it is. There's no other way.
Yeah, or you didn't hear that, and that's a problem.
Right, exactly. When I jumped off that mountain, I realized that I'm going to stay down here and just share my thoughts, my perspective, my feelings, how I see it and understand it. Um, and so yeah, sometimes when you're in those environments with people who still have certain levels of belief, you'll feel a little bit of that, and I always try to just emphasize I'm only saying how I see it.
No, you did a great job.
Yeah, yeah.
It
And
was
I thought she received it well too. I felt like both,
right.
like even like you were in different places. I felt like both your personalities like were cool with that.
Yeah,
You just
yeah,
just
Yeah,
having a
which
real
is
'cause we don't
conversation.
we
It
don't
was,
want to make people
yeah.
feel like
Hmm.
like I don't want to make people feel like, well, I I know more than you, and what you're saying doesn't matter.
what if you
Um,
Hmm.
do know more than them?
well, I try I try not to let it be obvious. Like
Okay.
I walk away from some conversations and think cuckoo, 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 cuckoo.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Can relate.
not with Leslie on that one, but
no.
Right,
different
right, right.
conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, there were times
Yeah.
that like when Tommy and I were in that prayer ministry thing. I don't know if Tommy had this happen, but somebody comes in and you're talking to him and you're like, I think you should be talking to a therapist right
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
because like you probably
Yeah.
there's clearly like a need for medication or something before this conversation can even
Yeah.
really help. Uh, which was weird because you can't say that, and you could, but we
We
weren't
should
allowed
have.
to say
We
that.
should have. We should have been saying that. We should have
Yeah.
been telling people
Hmm.
to go get therapy and seek professional help. And
Yeah.
the audacity of the pulpit to assume that because you have this book, you can speak on everything that's related to human experience.
Hmm.
What what
Yeah.
Yeah,
what an audacity!
Yeah. You
And
see,
to
like
think,
these people didn't need therapy. We were giving them Jesus.
yeah,
Like how dare they need
I
anything more
needed
than that, right?
therapy. I
Yeah.
needed therapy. Me, Kyle, I needed therapy.
yep.
I
Hmm.
didn't know I was dealing with depression all my life. I thought it was a devil. I didn't know
Right.
Yeah,
that that I had abandonment issues that were very high. I didn't
Mm.
know. I thought when I felt blah or disconnected, it was because I hadn't prayed enough. I had spent
Mm.
enough time with Jesus. I had
and
spent
that
enough
guilt
time
doesn't
alone
help
with God.
anything.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people now. And I'm not an expert. I don't know everything, but that whole world is nothing but emotions. It's
Yes.
we lended our emotions to those environments, and we called it God. We
Ooh,
think about it, right?
I
I
like
was
that.
raised and trained to love God, love God, love God, love God. Well, I know what love was. I already was loving my mom. I was loving my sisters and my brother. Didn't love my dad much, but I knew what love was. And so when they said you gotta love God, you gotta love Jesus. Oh, okay. Well, I just took love and handed it to God and handed it to Jesus. So did I really love them? No. I just took what I knew love to be and said, here you go. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I love you too. You know, so
Mm.
it was just an emotional transaction. Now, for me and the group I grew up in was around mostly those emotions were indicators of the presence of God. We didn't know it. We called it the presence of God. It was our emotions. So I would always be confused though, because we be in church services and this we call the spirit is high, the you know, whatever that really meant. But and
Probably
there'd be
Yeah.
means
people,
everybody's emotions are in
there'd be
sync.
people running around the building, jumping and hollering and screaming, falling out, all kind of things, and other people sitting there like this.
That was usually me. Yeah. It was mostly the autism that I didn't know I had until very recently. But yeah, like the whole time I remember like growing up in church so many times, like
Your whole family did that, I'm sure.
well, yeah. But even like once I like grew up and like was on my own like in other churches where like people were doing that more, I'd be sitting there like, okay, they're clearly feeling something that I'm just not.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
just gonna
Yeah.
sit here and see if something happens.
Like, do I need to tithe more to get leveled up? Is that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, but, oh yeah. So real quick, like speaking of the whole like tithing thing, like Man, this is like a part of my backstory.
Oh wow,
Like it
yeah,
feels like so embarrassing to like share, but like part of me is like, but I guess almost share it like out of spite now. That kind of overcomes the embarrassment. I won't say the exact number because I don't want to get that embarrassed. But but I actually did the math. So the mega church we used to go to, they would do like these big like giving campaigns. Even though it was like a mega church that had like a bunch of like millionaires going to it, like they still needed to do their giving campaigns for us to give them more money, like over and
Sure.
above your 10% in tithe or whatever.
they did do some awesome
So,
stuff. Did a
yeah,
church need
some
to do that?
awesome stuff.
No.
Yeah, they did
Right.
some awesome stuff and a bunch of really harmful bullshit stuff as well
Right.
with that money.
Yeah.
Sometimes at the same time, which was weird, but anyway. Yeah, there was one campaign in particular where we ended up giving, like I said, I'm not going to give the exact number. I'll just tell you the amount we gave. So, and it was over a 3-year period of time. And the
Mm.
amount we gave was about 5/6 of my annual salary
Mm.
over 3 years. So essentially, like over 3 years, I gave up a year of pay, which wasn't much. And people, and if anyone's wondering, no, we could not actually afford that.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. But then shortly after that, I did like get like a promotion at work, a couple of promotions, and like were able to get like a better house and everything. But then shortly after that, I ended up losing that job. We ended up losing that house. I got cancer. I lost my faith, and my marriage ended. So,
What? See, you didn't go all in. It was the all in campaign,
There you
wasn't it?
go.
Yeah, you,
so see, I should.
I bet
yeah.
Tony at the
You went
time.
5/6.
I bet at the time when you got the promotion and everything looked like it was going well, you attributed to the blessing of God. You know,
Yeah,
God's
well,
blessing.
I probably would have, but I think it was actually towards the end of that 3 years. That's probably when I started deconstructing.
Mm. Oh,
So
okay.
I wasn't necessarily seeing it like that at the time. I think once we got towards the end, I was getting kind of like bitter and upset about it. Like, why the fuck did we do this?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, but yes, but yeah, but I'm sure like from the outside, people who knew me is like, oh, Tommy, like, I mean, not that people knew exactly how much I was giving, but they knew like we were part of this campaign or whatever. They're like, oh, look, like here come the blessings, and then like within a year, like I said, like not only were those blessings gone, but I ended up losing even more than that in the process. So I don't know what kind of spiritual math that is, where you give God more and things end up actually getting worse. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Every dollar. You know, I'm not saying pastors don't give, but most pastors
Mhm.
don't really give. You know, they give the they give a look of giving. But I was a pastor. I was around pastors all the time. Right? Most pastors don't give; they take. But
Mhm.
the majority, even if a pastor is a giver and a tither in his church, still he's only one person. So the majority of the money comes from from the pews. Why aren't the people in the pews doing better financially then?
Fantastic question. If
Where
anyone
does the money
has an
come from to
answer,
build the church?
yeah.
Where does the
Mhm.
money come from to keep the church afloat?
Yep.
Where does the money come from? The majority of all money comes from the people sitting in the pews. So why aren't those people driving the bigger cars, living in the better homes, financially secure, just living off of the blessings, you know, whether they work or not, whether they have careers or not? Why aren't those people living the blessed life as the narrative preach? They're giving the majority of the money, even if the pastor tithes, even if he's a great giver, even if
Mhm.
he has things working outside of the church and he's faithfully giving. Still, the majority of that money's coming from the people in the pews.
Yep.
But when you walk through the pews, like I have for years, you don't see that in the people. You
Mm.
don't see it at all.
Yeah.
That reminded me. We were joking, I think, a couple weeks ago about the parable Jesus told about, or no, the woman gave her last
Right.
whatever, her few
Yeah.
coins,
Mhm.
and he was bragging on her, and we were joking about how like uh, he was so pleased that she became dirt poor by giving him all her
She
money.
gave all she had. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then just now I was thinking, I'm like, oh, it's no wonder that like Donald Trump is the president. He wants to be so darn happy that we're all poor, and now he's richer. Like
It all comes together.
yeah, the seeds were in there the whole time.
It's really just a huge con. Now, because I've always had integrity as far as how I dealt with people, and I'm not trying to toot up my own horn here, but when I was preaching the word of faith and seed time and harvest and tithing, when I preached it and really believed it and lived it in front of my people that way, I never did it to receive offerings. I did it because I believed it was going to help us get better. Now taking an offer, receiving an offering was a side part of that. We did take our offerings, but it was never with the intention on, oh, we're going to raise more money. It was always, hey, everybody, trust this. This is God's way. It's going to change your life. I'm telling you, God doesn't want you poor. God doesn't want you struggling. God doesn't want you living from paycheck to paycheck. He has a better way. We have to trust him. Follow my lead or watch my life. I would tell them so often, watch my life, watch what happens. And they probably were. They were seeing my house being taken away. They were seeing my job being taken away. They were seeing me, literally becoming a beggar. They probably watched my life and say, oh, hell no. We're gonna say amen in church, but we ain't doing that shit.
See, but here's the great way that like in Christianity, like they like have it both ways. Like if you start, doing the Lord's work, if things start in just your regular life, when things start working out, what do they say? Oh, look at God's blessing,
Right.
God's favors on your life. But then if things don't, like, what do they say? Look at Satan's attacking him because he knows he's dangerous. Like so,
and then God is there in your suffering too, next to you the whole time.
Yeah,
which seems like a really mean thing to do.
He's right there. It's like getting into a street fight. Tommy, you and Matt are out, and someone jumps on Tommy, and Matt just decides to sit there and watch.
It's like, I'm still here, though.
Right? Yeah, that's what I say. Like, because that's okay.
What kind of relationship are you two going to have after that happens?
Right?
It'll either be really funny or over.
Or funny how over it is. Yeah. So that's something that this is something that I think about a lot, because in my context, I mean, going through cancer, because that's one of the things, as a Christian, especially towards the end, when I was deconstructing, dealing with things like the problem of evil, well, why does God let all this terrible things happen? And that's the response, even in the very progressive Christian culture. That's the big thing. It's God may not do anything to take away your suffering, but he's going to be right there with you in the midst of it. And I'm so once I got out and was actually thinking about all this bullshit, I'm that actually sounds worse.
It does. It really does.
Because it would make more sense to say that I'm going through this because God just said fuck it and abandoned me.
Right.
But to say that he was there while it was happening,
watching,
and not doing jack shit about it,
watching the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, but I'm but here's the thing, now. But because that's the thing now I can understand if for some people, because my attitude towards that is okay, I can get that that kind of sympathy and empathy and just being there for me, like Job's friends were with him. I can get that from people because I have friends and family in my life who love me. Maybe whatever I'm going through, if they can't actually do anything about it, the fact that they're just there with me, that means a lot. But from God, I'm expecting so much more. I use the example of so when I had cancer, so when I first got my diagnosis, yes, I had tons of support from friends and family. It was almost overwhelming, almost to the point where I was okay, everyone calm down. Too many people are asking me if I need things. But which, best kind of problem in the world to have. But there was a reason I went to my oncologist, and other doctors and nurses, because they could actually do something about it. So, but if I had gone to my first appointment with my oncologist and she just like sat me down. It's like, look, yeah, the cancer you have, it's really bad, and like this is going to be really hard for you. But I just want you to know. She could even like come up, like put her hand on my knee and say, like, look, I'm not going to do anything to
Yeah, I'm not
actually
going to
treat
treat
your
you.
cancer,
I'm not going to treat you.
but I will be here with you while you suffer through it.
That'll be
I would have,
$700.
yeah. My response in that situation would have been, get fucked. I'm finding a new oncologist.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, so the same thing with God. It's like, so if that's all God's gonna do is just be there and not do
Right.
anything about it, it's like,
Just
then
gonna
what good is he?
send vibes.
Yeah.
That's what he's gonna
And
do.
that's the things that started to unravel. Like, what is the point of the God then? Right? Because again, and I'm not trying to spotlight this like it's all we do, but I grew up in the hood. I grew up where there's churches on every other corner in the hood, and these neighborhoods are run down, decrepit, and there's bad things happening. And again, I'm not trying to paint us as some,
Right.
like the media does, some wild, because
Right,
every community has a hood. I've traveled the country. I go to different cities. Every city has a place that's like, oh wow, they don't look so appealing. So, but I can talk about what I know about, right? And so, in these communities where there's a lot of poverty and high unemployment and these kind of things, there's churches all over. I mean, all over. There's one place I lived at one point. I was able to walk out of my street down the block to get to the gym, and within literally 3/4 of a mile, because it was only it was 3/4 of a mile, a little bit more to the gym. So from my house to that, literally there were 8 churches in that
Wow.
span of space. And I kid you not, it's a major road, but still there were 8 churches, smaller storefront, a couple of nicer sized churches, but still 8 churches nonetheless, right?
Man, that much God all in one place, that must have been
Yeah.
like the nicest, most prosperous area in the world, right?
Now, if I came out my house, went down the block. If I went to the right, that's where the majority of these churches were, and that's the worst part of this section of the road. If I went to the left, heading down to the park, there were single family homes. It was like night or day, left or right. No churches, beautiful homes, going down to the beautiful park. Go this way, churches galore. You don't want to, you didn't want to go that way. You didn't. And that's the reality. So I got to the point I started thinking like, well, what's the point of a God? What does it benefit people to believe in God? It doesn't give you life. So no one can say, well, I get more life because I believe in God. I get to live longer. No one can say, well, I get a free, clean bill of health because I believe in God. I can never get sick. I can never have a disease. I can never suffer with any illness. And my money's right. I'm guaranteed that financially we have no problems. That's what my belief in God gives us. And if that was unilateral across the board, that every single believer gets this package. Now, these are probably the 3 most fundamental parts of life. You need life to live. You can't do life without life.
Yeah, it's in the word. Yeah.
Right. So you need good health in order to enjoy this life, and you need money. I mean, there's no way around it. You don't have to be educated. You don't have to be socially acceptable. You don't have to, but you need life. You need health. You need money. And if the thing that came with believing in a God for you, for all of you who believe in me, I'm going to guarantee you these 3 things. You're untouchable in these 3 things. For everybody else, you're on your own. And we would see this, the world would see this and think, God damn, them Christians are doing well. They never get sick. They live longer than everybody else. I mean, they financially, they're just doing great. Maybe I should believe in God. Hell, I want that. Right? But you look at any 2 lives together, you see the same shit going on in both lives, potentially. And one could be a Christian, one could not be a Christian. So I started asking the question, what is the point then to belief in a God? What does it do? I mean, how does it benefit us in a tangible, meaningful, substantial way in this life? And it doesn't,
Yeah.
as far as what I can see. It only tickles us emotionally. But emotions don't give us
Yeah.
life. Emotions don't heal us, and emotions
Hmm.
don't pay our bills. So
Right.
what's the point,
Yeah.
total?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
kind of
Because
like a stand-in or a counterfeit for all those things,
Right.
so you can feel like you have those things.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or someone promises you, well, even if you don't have it this life, the next life you'll get all this stuff.
To
Like
which you
it's.
don't even need it, which is the
Mhm.
next thing I tell people. Look at how badly we've been conned. We've been conned to believe that this God has a place for us where these things are going to be so wonderful.
Mhm.
But we
So
don't need it there.
yeah,
We need
yeah.
it now.
Right. Right. Yeah. And
So how loving is this God to be withholding what we need the most? I mean, that's how is
Yeah.
that love?
And we
No,
don't know
no,
for
no.
sure.
You need health and healing, but
Yeah.
when you get there, you won't have to worry
right.
about it
Right.
because
And
Well, so
and
they say. That's
yeah.
the
so
other part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so to
And
say.
Jimmy raises a good point here. Like, so I haven't answered that question because tithing is bullshit. Yeah, simple. Yeah, a
Basically,
non-existent deity. It's incapable of blessing anyone. It's amazing. The church. Here's the kicker. The church needs money, but if I need money, I should pray.
yeah, absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. When
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
because that's always
when I
the
was a
answer. Like when the church is having problems, like, oh, we need your money, but like if you go to church saying like, well, I'm having problems, like, oh, well, you should pray about it. It's
yeah,
like, what about all that money that you have that we've been giving you that you're supposed to be using to help people like me? It's like, just pray, brother. It's like,
yeah,
The
okay.
building needs a new roof.
yeah. I was in a church once right before I started really kind of waking up. I was in Texas, so I was visiting this church, nice sized church, and I knew the pastors. And at some point, I was thinking about joining their church. I wasn't pastoring on a weekly basis anymore. I was in a little transition. So I was thinking about maybe joining their church as an associate. They wanted me to come down and spend a couple of weeks with them and kind of see them and all this kind of things. And I was giving it some thought. But anyway, so I'm there one Sunday after this, and I'm just visiting, and because we all became good friends for a while. And I'm sitting there watching, and one of the associate pastor gets up, and the head pastors were out of town, and so he was running the service that day, and he says, Pastor Kathy and Pastor Lou, they don't know about this, but God put this on my heart, and they owe XYZ on their house, and God sent me here to tell the church that we're going to pay off their house, and by the time they get back, we're going to raise the money to pay off their house. And I was sitting there, I was mad as hell. I was getting so angry listening to this because I thought, well, number one, the church is paying their mortgage already. Number two, why is it always for the pastors? Why never for the people? There's nobody in the congregation that can use help with their rent. Forget paying off their house. There's nobody in the congregation that can use help with their rent, that could
Mm.
use help with food. Why are we never taking massive drives and trying to drive in, raising money for the people sitting in the pews? Why is that never happening?
Mm.
That's what bootstraps are for, I guess.
Yeah. And I was getting so mad, and I left that church so angry. Like, they don't fucking need nobody paying off their house. They're fine, you know. And
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
that's how I was waking
Yeah.
up. I was again. It was about the people. It was supposed to be about the people,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. And that was also a frustration for me, like talking about like this big mega church that we were going to, like full of like a bunch. It's not like everyone in the church was super like wealthy and well off, but like a lot of them were.
There are a lot.
Well, birds
But
of a feather.
but of
Yeah,
yeah, but of course, like whenever it was time for them to like show like video testimonials about people saying, "Oh, well, I decided to like give this stupid, insane amount of money." That's of course not how they worded it, but that's what
right.
um, amount of money to. And look what how God blessed me, or like blessings were all, like it seemed like all these stories that people were telling, talking about like God blessing them. It was all an instance of, well, not all, like, but for the most part, or at least a lot of
Yeah.
God, well, my life was already relatively pretty awesome. Like, I already had a great job, a great house, but then God
Yeah.
gave me a better job, and then God got me a better car. And it's like,
It's like that's what our country does for people who already have money. They're like, here, have more.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it worked. Because I
Yeah.
remember, like, it's like, especially with that giving campaign that I was talking about, where we just gave this absolutely fucking stupid amount of money to, but like I said, there would be these people like giving their testimonials and say like, well, here's the things that like we sacrificed and gave up so we could like give more to the church, but the way they were describing their lives like after all these like massive sacrifices, like, okay, your life still sounds better than mine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we did things like, oh, we gave up cable for a couple months. Like, in my adult life, I've never even had cable. Or they say like, well, instead of buying a brand new minivan, we bought one that was 2 years old. Like, I like all my cars are like at least
Yeah.
that old. Like all these things that you're talking about giving up, it's like that's still like I give that shit up all the time just because I have to because I can't afford it. But then they're saying, oh, but this is how God, and it's the same thing. Like when people like say their things like, well, look what God blessed me with, like this better job or this
Yes.
really good
Yeah.
parking spot, like that I didn't
Yeah.
really need because I can walk. But meanwhile, like literally, like how many people are starving to death today?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's something you mentioned earlier that like I really connected with, like talking about like how it wasn't just like you weren't looking at it just as what God wasn't doing in your life, but you were
Right.
looking around like in your community and saying like these people who are sick, these people who have cancer, these people who have like cerebral palsy or whatever, and like God's
Right.
not healing them because that's what it was like for me. Like I said, like coming off of being like because like when I had cancer, like it was like really bad, but then it like very quickly just disappeared. Like,
Good.
but I credit that to like that's modern medicine
Sure.
because it just so happened like so my cancer it was melanoma, and it just so happened like when I got it like just in the previous few years like medical research and like new developments and treatments had just like skyrocketed. Like
Mhm.
literally, if I had the same diagnosis like 10 years earlier, I would be dead. Like that's just how it is. But of course, like coming off of that, everyone's like, "Oh, look what God did for you," and I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
but I
Right.
just couldn't see it that way. Like knowing, like, okay, like I had an aunt and uncle who died of cancer.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends from high school died of cancer when he was 30. Like when I was in elementary school, there was this little girl who was like in kindergarten who died of leukemia. So I'm like, okay, you can't if you're going to tell me that
Right.
God loves me so much and that's why he did this for me. You're going to have to explain to me why he didn't do it for like not
Right.
just those people I mentioned, but the millions of people who had like the same damn cancer that I had
Right.
who
Right.
like
Right.
but it just so
Yes.
happened that God's blessing like lined up perfectly with like medical advancements. And
Right. Right.
yeah, and like oh, this is something I have so many thoughts on like people say like, "Oh, God." People say, "Well, God just chooses to heal through medicine." I'm like, "Well, couldn't he have found something cheaper first of all?"
Yeah. Yeah.
or or something
It-
like more widely available to people not in like super wealthy, well-off countries. It's
yeah.
like
And why
that's
do people have to
yeah,
suffer through the medicine phase?
right?
It's still my question. I was listening to a commercial today, and it was talking about some of the after effects or side effects of this medication, and one of these side effects was, suicidal tendencies increase
Mm.
dramatically with this one medication,
Mm.
and it hit me. You know, for the people who want to celebrate God healed them, but you took the medicine, and then you had to deal with more side effects because of the medicine. So again, how is this God? How is God doing this? And I
Hmm.
think that number one, I think we've been programmed to believe that God is good, right? So you never go to church and you'll never hear a song that is questioning God's goodness. You'll never hear a song asking God why is there suffering. You'll never hear a song about God is late or let you down or didn't do what you want him to do. It's always going to be about how good this God is, how awesome this God is. Our God is an awesome God. He
Yep.
reigns, and
Yep.
so you're constantly being programmed with this. God is good. God is good. God is good. But when you face challenges and issues and you have questions, your mind can't even formulate the question as to why God, why, you know, because that deeper programming is all in the subconsciousness about God is good. So you have to
Mm.
either blame the devil, but then the next question should be, well, why is this good God allowing the devil to do this to me?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
if you can't get there, then you just have to blame yourself. Again, you're not
Yeah.
faithful enough, you're not praying enough, or God has to test your faith. And, you have to be strong
Yeah.
and go through it, because just like Daniel in the lion's den and David and
Yeah.
Goliath and this Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire,
Yeah.
God has to test your faith and you have to come out strong. And
Yeah.
God knows
And I
when to do
still have yet to hear a good explanation from someone of why a God who is supposed to be all knowing still has to
right.
test me on things.
Right.
But
They used
yeah.
to tell me, because I used to ask that question as a kid. I said, but doesn't God know everything already? He knows. He just wants to see what you're gonna do.
Right, because it's good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He just wants to
But
see
doesn't
how
he
you're gonna
know what
handle
I'm going to do?
it. So you can know what you're capable of. Oh,
You're like,
so
you couldn't
shoot me
just
in the
tell
head
me.
to so I got to get shot in the head to learn I can recover from a gunshot wound to the head.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Cool. I'd rather not know I can do that.
Yeah. I'm okay without knowing. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
okay.
like just tell me. I'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Hey, Kyle, you're gonna
so
fuck this test up. Okay, no problem. Hey, no
well
problem.
then I'll just sleep in and not even go. Then we'll
Yeah, no
go the whole
problem.
thing. It'll be great. Yeah.
No problem.
But man, so many like still like so many things I want to so many directions like to go, so many places my mind is going with what you've already said and like what we've already like seen from you say before and different ways I want to take the conversation. But also like, again, like also being honoring of your time, like I said, as long as you're willing to hang out. But yes, several things. I guess the first thing that's on my mind. This is really more just to make the show description I typed beforehand a little more accurate. 'Cause that's always the trouble, like with this show, because we just like I said, we're both ADHD, autistic. Like it just that's for me like the hardest part of the show every week is typing the description in beforehand, just trying to assume what we're going to talk about. And like I've had to go back and change it several times, but
We usually have some kind of idea, like sometimes more than others, but it's still
Yeah.
like, guess how much time we're actually going to spend on that.
right, yeah. And I'll let Matt and Kyle, like if there's like other things like you want to talk about, but for me, like things I'm thinking of as far as like top possible like topics to pursue, like things like I mean I have so many thoughts on the whole like God uses medicine to heal, and I'm like, okay, but why kind of thing, or just more of your thoughts on just like deconstruction, like progressive Christianity, like that whole
Yeah,
scene in general, or what, like going back to like the parable of like Jesus thinking it was so awesome that this already poor woman was giving the last money she thought, and how like for so many reasons I kind of think Jesus, like because you even hear like a lot of atheists saying like, oh, Jesus was cool. I wish Christians were more like Jesus. I'm like, the more I've learned about Jesus, the more I'm like
yeah.
becoming much less of a
I'm
fan.
not a Jesus fan. I'm not
Yeah,
a
he
Jesus fan.
had some moments
Yeah,
where he was definitely a jerk.
Well,
yeah,
I think for me, what I'm challenged with the most is he never wrote anything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have
yeah.
a really hard time focusing on what he supposedly said. I can't even,
Mm,
I can't even
yeah,
dispute whether he wrote it. So we can dispute Paul's writings and Peter's writings and David's writings, or whoever the Psalms.
yeah,
Moses'
yeah.
writing. We can dispute these. Well, I don't know. Maybe Moses didn't really write it. Well, maybe they're attributing this really to. We can't even
Hmm.
dispute what Jesus wrote because they didn't write shit.
Yeah, nothing.
And my other huge issue with Jesus is that he didn't cut he wasn't portrayed as he's not portrayed as a human, right?
Mm,
Yeah. There's no
So I
characteristics
remember,
about him. Yeah.
right, when I
yeah,
started deconstructing, and I jumped on this post about sex, and I said, hey, if Jesus was real, then he was masturbating at 13 like every other 13-year-old boy. Sorry to bust your bubble.
right. Yeah, because
And
also
that
if he
lady,
was also God, he would have also known that that's actually healthy.
well,
So
that's it, right? So
Yeah.
To expect this
Right.
human being to come to this earth and live for 33 and a half years while dealing with the very urges this God created him to have, and expect him to be like, I'm okay. No, I don't, no, she
Yeah.
don't, no,
And not sleep with one of the groupies
Right.
like Mary
So
Magdalene.
Jesus doesn't
Right.
present humanity for me. He doesn't.
Mm.
And they can
Yeah.
talk about the suffering on the cross, but by that point, it's too late. It's too late.
It's
Yeah.
You're
not
walking on
written in a
water
way
and
that we're
shit.
supposed to
You're
care
spitting
about.
on the dirt and healing people's eyes. You're passing through crowds. No, you don't pass the human test for me. You don't.
Mm.
You know.
Right. So
So
it sounds like that's fertile discussion ground. So yeah, we can get to more of that. But like, as far as the description I typed, there's something like we can talk about it now, or we can get to it, like depending on like how we want this kind of to flow ish. But one of the things that you talk about that I love the most is how like we're told like so much in Christianity, like this is your identity. Like you,
right,
like who you are is who you are in Christ. And
right,
like you are going to be your best self. You are going to
right,
love the most like in this
right,
context and this identity. And of course,
right,
most of your love is going like external, like out, like to God,
right,
like not to
right,
you. That's one of the things you talked about, the whole like joy acronym, like it's Jesus, then others, then you.
right,
But I
Gross.
think that like I would say like in my mind, the actual healthier version of that is like, first of all, just like flip it and then drop the J. So it's just yo. So you and then others
yeah,
and Jesus, fuck that guy. But yeah. So then like, and then coming out of Christianity, like how you talk so much about like, because this is something I've experienced as well. This is something I say all the time. Like since leaving Christianity, like I love myself
yeah,
so much more than I ever have
yeah,
in my entire life,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I like myself. I respect myself so much more, and
Yeah.
but then that turns into me being able to like love and respect and like see other people as like more highly as well. So like
mhm,
there's like that
yeah,
whole thing,
Well,
and
you must be
so
God then, because that's how you love others better, right? You got to love God with everything first, and then
ah well I you heard it here first, folks. Here, I'll
Hey
change
God,
my
how you
name on the
doing?
thing here to
There you
just God.
go. We found God. you know.
Hey, yeah, actually, here, give me a second.
I think.
Let's see,
What are you doing?
I'm just adjusting something here real quick. There, Tommy, actually, God. There.
I, so that all right. That touched on two different things. Um, let's do the one that was a little bit before that. So when I was listening to you talk to Leslie, I realized of even more, how much even more of the language and the vocabulary, the indoctrination, and what people say to you and the hierarchy. It's all about like keeping us from ourselves,
Right,
not getting to that part of us that wonders if this is a waste of time.
right,
Um, like classifying parts of ourselves as the enemy, as
right,
devil.
right.
That's
Mm-hmm.
there's yeah. It really struck me how much it's all built on keeping us from ourselves.
Right. It is. Yeah. Christianity is incredibly toxic and deadly to the human experience, in my opinion. Now, you may not hear this in the church today. I'm sure you'll hear it in some, but you may not hear this in mainstream Christianity. You are dirty, rotten, no good. You are worthless. You are meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Yep.
disgusting. You just reek with evilness. You're untrustworthy. Your heart is no good. Your mind is no good.
Yeah.
You're just nothing.
Yep, that was my church
But the
growing
good
up.
news is,
But but there's hope for you.
yeah, you
Jesus
gotta,
can make you
yeah,
better. Now, I don't care how you came to Christianity, but in the in the subtext of it all, in your acceptance of Christianity, you are in some way, shape, or form agreeing with what I just said. You have come to an acknowledgement of some kind of form that you are that,
Yeah.
and that you need help. You need this
Mhm.
savior.
Yep.
And what that does to us psychologically on an internal level is so destructive, because you never come back from that in Christianity. You never pray enough, you never fast enough, you never give enough, you never worship enough. You never come away from the fact that you still are a worthless piece of shit,
Very good point.
meaningless without Jesus. You'll never break
Mhm.
away from that. And it is impossible to develop self-love, self-worth, self-appreciation, self-value. It's impossible
Well, and it's
in that
sinful
arena.
too in that mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
It's of no value, you know.
Right.
If you go to a
You
therapist,
have
that's
to
what they'll tell you got to
disappear.
do.
Yeah, you don't matter. So you need to disappear so that Jesus takes center form, center place in your life, and it's now all about Jesus. And that is so debilitating to a human experience. Because if that was the truth, then why the fuck am I here? Just send another fucking
Right.
Jesus. You don't need fucking Kyle. You don't need Tom. You don't need Matt. Just send another fucking Jesus. What do you need me for? What the fuck do
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get to come here for? Develop a mind, develop my own personality, develop my own
Mm.
understanding, develop my own likes and my dislikes. Why the fuck am I here if I don't matter, if nothing about me matters and I need to be like Jesus? Then why the fuck did you send me here, you sadistic God? Send another fucking Jesus and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
just
that's
make me
how
Jesus.
humanity
Yeah.
should be taking that message back to the people, giving it to them. What you're telling me
Mm.
makes no sense. Why am I here then? Oh, you're here to. No, that's bullshit. So we're we're here, I believe, to experience this experience as ourselves. I
Mhm.
mean, if not, then again,
Yeah.
why not just clone everybody and everyone is just the one little thing and God is happy? Why go through all of that?
Because we're all on
So
Right.
God's soap opera.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Oh, look what he's doing. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Again, that's why we hired like what a reality TV star to be president, and
yeah, yeah,
he's running the country like his own like TV show.
yeah.
Like makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't like that. That makes sense.
I don't like it either. I mean, it makes no sense that it makes sense, and it's sad that it
It's got to
does.
run
Yeah.
its course. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
so
yeah,
again,
that's
it's just so incredibly toxic and hard to develop that. And the other problem with it is that it's incredibly difficult to treat others the way they should be treated. Remember, you're part of a special group. You're part of a special group of people. You know, you're set
mm.
apart. You're the chosen. You're the ones God has His light on.
you're the
His
master
light is
race. I
shining on
mean, no, but that's
Yeah.
what it sounds like. You know?
exactly. It's just so
Mhm.
it's the elitism of elitism. I mean, you're on
Yep.
God's side.
Mhm. Yeah, but you still try to keep humble because that's where that whole aspect of, well, I'm dirt, but but God is good, Jesus is awesome, but like, yeah, I'm dirt, but I'm only good because of Jesus. But
Right.
I'm good because of Jesus. You're not.
Yeah,
Like, you need to
yeah,
you need to come into my group,
yeah.
and then
I've
you can
got
be
it.
good
You
because of
don't.
Jesus too.
Shame on
Yeah.
you. And
Mhm.
one of the things that humanity that wants to dominate others has always done is you have to dehumanize the group you want to dominate. So right now it's with the immigrants and the migrants. You have to dehumanize them so that
Mm.
when ICE is separating families from families and doing all these horrific things, we'll hear it and go, yeah, well, should have stayed your ass from where you came from. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Right.
So you have to
Right.
dehumanize people in order for us not to empathize with them anymore. Because once you do that, then it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
well, yeah, listen. I mean, so isn't that
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Christianity is? Well, you're on your way to hell. So I mean, sucks to be you. But hey,
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah. It's
loves you.
basically, yeah, because basically the Christian message is essentially, as ironic as this sounds, but it's really what it is. It's dehumanizing literally all of humanity.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
Seems pretty
Yeah.
evil.
So yes, exactly. So for those of us that find Jesus, he was lost, and we went on the quest, lost and found. We found him. For those of us that find Jesus, then we're okay, and we can look down on those who haven't. We can mistreat those who haven't. They're of no real value, because the meek shall inherit the earth. And we're just waiting for Jesus to come back and demolish 2/3 of the population through the Great Tribulation, and then we rule and reign with him forever. So it's impossible to really connect with empathy with people that are in the world. So Christianity does this tremendous job of painting the world as the evil entity, and the church as the shining light of God's glory. So anything that happens out there is, oh well, get saved. I don't know what to tell you. Try Jesus.
right.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I think those are the two reasons why I think Christianity is so toxic and deadly and just demoralizing to the whole human experience. And I
Right.
find no value in it whatsoever.
And
Nice. And more on that, but real quick, speaking of things that are toxic, I moved on to my second drink,
Ah.
just the regular torpedo IPA.
Well,
But
it can't be
also,
that toxic. You're enjoying it, so it can't be that bad.
yeah,
I don't think
that's
you'd
what
be
I'll
able to
tell
go
my
to
doctor.
church and enjoy that toxicity.
Exactly. See, I certainly enjoy this much better than church. But I wanted to point out this comment from James, one of our top fans on Facebook.
it's
But
good to
also
see you're
Christian.
back.
Yes, welcome. Speaking of that's one of the things I always say. Real quick before I get to James's question, I'm just real curious, Kyle. And if you're not comfortable answering this question, answer it however you like. But do you consider yourself atheist, agnostic, just non-religious? Is there any
Yeah.
kind of
I'm
how
an
do you?
atheist to every man-made God that there is.
Okay,
I'm
cool,
just like the Christian. I'm just an atheist to one more God, their God.
right there
You
you
know,
go. Yeah.
and
So
I'm probably agnostic overall, but
mhm.
this is what I believe. This is what I think I can prove, is that if there is such a thing called a God, it itself has never revealed itself to humanity in a clear, precise way where there's no questions for all of humanity.
Mhm.
So I don't know, Matt. I know you have children. I'm sorry, Tommy. I know you have children. I don't know about you, Matt.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Matt does.
Okay. So, oh
Mhm.
yeah, you did. That's right. You did mention your daughter. I don't have any children yet, but I have a mother and a father, right? And I speak specifically to my mother. My mom, much like you two as parents, whose responsibility was it to convince or tell your children who you were, right? Did your neighbor Tommy tell your child repeatedly every week that you were the dad? Matt, did
Yeah.
you have someone knocking on your door every day saying, "Hey, let me tell you who your dad is"? No.
That would have been weird.
Every day you spending time with your children, you're revealing to them, "I'm daddy, I'm daddy, I'm daddy, I'm daddy, I'm daddy," and eventually they got it. That's daddy, that's daddy, that's daddy. Why not a God? Why wouldn't a
Mhm.
God do that? Why wouldn't a God make itself abundantly clearly
Ooh.
known to us so that there's no question?
Yes,
And
and this was the biggest thing for me. But before, so I want to dig into that a lot more. But real quick, I just wanted to get to so James, also Christian, so basically the reason I asked you that, Kyle, is that's one of the things I like to joke about. So me and Matt, we're both atheists, have been the whole time we're doing the show, but I think you're only of all the guests we've had. I think you're only the second one we've had who identifies as atheist. So I like to joke we're the worst atheist show ever. We don't even none of our guests are atheists. We have Christians in the chat. What are we doing wrong? But, no, but in all seriousness, I
Christians are
actually
atheists too. They just don't want to admit it.
towards
They
the other
don't believe that any other God
49,900.
than the God they
Yeah.
hear about is God, and that is what an atheist. You're not
Yeah.
convinced that this other God is God. You're not convinced. So
Zeus, Krishna, Thor. Yeah.
you're the same thing. We just say, well, we've looked at your God, and we're not convinced that that one is God either.
Right.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
That's really all it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Yeah, but as
so
much as Yeah, but as much as I like to joke about that, but on the same, in reality, I actually love that like so many non-atheists or even Christians are like comfortable like either being on the show or being in the chat. Like I seriously love
Yes,
it. So
I mean,
sure.
that probably
so
means
thank
we're doing something right.
yeah.
How do you
But
think?
yeah, but before I let you continue there, Kyle, just one real quick. So James, like, yeah, if he left this comment, we were talking about the whole like Christianity teaching us that you're worthless, you're scum, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, thing where so James, if I remember correctly, Matt, do you remember? Is he Catholic? And James, like, please correct me, like, with if you're Catholic or
I
not in the
don't
chat or what.
remember.
Yeah,
I want to say
but he says
Orthodox, but that is probably also wrong.
but he says, yeah, but if that's really the kind of Christianity you came from, then I'm glad you see through it. Yes, but don't worry. Like I come from a lot of different kinds of Christianity, and I disagree with all of them. But
Me too.
so
Me too.
and
I mean,
a lot of that
yeah.
stuff isn't said outright.
well, that's what I
Like some of it is.
mean. It's not
Yeah,
in
It's the
today's
implication. Yeah.
modern Christianity. You won't hear it the way I presented it, but still, that's what it means. The mere idea that you must decrease, that he must increase. It
yeah,
yells, you are of no value. The mere fact that you need to repent of your sins or else you're
yeah,
of no good. The mere fact that you need a savior says that a God is looking at you and saying you're no good you're no good. You're no good.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
no, you're no good. I know I created you, but you're no good. You're no good.
yeah.
You're no good.
Or,
You know,
or even if the ones who say, well, it's not that you're no good, it's that you're just not good enough. It's like, okay, well
either
then,
way, there's
yeah,
a
yeah,
flaw here. There's a
hmm
problem. The God
yeah,
that created you has an issue with you. And there's no other way to say it. If Christians believe in hell, and the majority of Christians do, if Christians believe in hell, then what that says is that each and every individual born was destined to go to hell.
Yeah.
Now, I might be saying it dramatically with your disgusting, dirty, da 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 da, but the most famous Christian message that was preached and is still being taught in seminaries today is sinners in the hands of an angry God.
Knew you were going to say
That's
that.
still being taught
Yeah.
in seminaries today. This is what you give people.
Yeah, and real
So,
quick, I'll be right back. Yeah, keep going. I'll be right back, though.
yeah, no matter how you paint it, no matter the wording you use, it still sums up to the God that created you has an issue with you. And if you don't get this issue fixed, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
That reminds me how codependent that whole relationship is, because
Right.
that's abuser language, or that's substance abuser language, or like emotionally manipulative parent kind of language. It's getting an acceptance for that kind of like relationship dynamic. It kind of gives you a mental illness, and I don't mean that's thrown around pretty easily, and I don't think that, and I don't mean how people tend to use that. It gives you a kind of it makes you prone to depression, prone to anxiety.
Right.
Just that belief that you're at your deepest level, you're broken.
Right.
So any fixing that happens is just bad glue for a broken vase,
Right.
Which I think leads to more sin, honestly.
Well, why do people get saved? Why do people let's just start there. Why do people give their life to Jesus? Why? So even the Christian that goes to the nicest little church that never hears anything harsh or bad towards them, like I said, you're a dirty, rotten sinner, you're dirty, da. Why did you give your life to Jesus? Somewhere, somehow, you had to be convinced that you must give your life to Jesus. Now, why would you have to give up your life if everything is okay? Why would you have to give up your life if, this God and you were okay with the way you were? And why do you have to give up your life? So if all of that, at least subconsciously, doesn't yell and scream worthless, of no value, of no good,
Mm-hmm.
incredibly flawed, powerless, meaningless. You're giving up you. So
Yeah.
just ask every Christian, well, why did you accept Jesus into your heart? And I know the answers will vary, but they all will point to there was something wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, but you
something
see,
missing.
Kyle, but the
Yeah.
thing but Kyle, you see but the reason there's something's wrong with you is because you chose to sin, or it's actually because Adam and Eve chose to sin,
Yeah, I didn't
and
have a
then that
choice.
affected all of
I
us.
didn't. I
And
didn't
then
have a choice. Yeah, I didn't have a choice. I had no choice. Again, I was born. If the stories are true, I was born destined to go straight to hell.
Yeah.
hmm
And if
yeah.
somehow
So
in this journey, through my upbringing, which is so diverse between all of us, right? Through
mhm.
my own mental capacity, which is so diverse through all of us, with all of us, through my life experiences, which are so diverse through all of us, through our challenges and our issues and our understandings and our learning and our capacities, all these things so massively diverse. If somehow through all of that I don't find Jesus, I was destined, born, created to go straight to hell. And it's my job
Right.
through all the things I just described, all of the stuff that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. It was my job to find Jesus
Mm.
through my Muslim parents who only taught me about Islam.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You
And
know?
because like all the Christians, because like, and I never heard about Jesus because all the Christians were too afraid to come to my country because
Yeah,
my government would have killed them for
yeah.
telling me about Jesus. Yeah. So man, so see, this is the problem I'm having. Is like there's just like too many things I want to talk with you about. So we'll probably just have to have you on again some other time if that's cool with you. But yeah, but Ed, yeah, see, my brain is going so many different directions. I forgot where
I can add
it
one
was
more.
going. Yeah, go.
It sounds so. It's like we're born in a pit, but the sides are too tall. We can't get out of,
Right.
according to the good news.
Mhm.
But we're given the free will to want to get out.
Yeah.
That sounds like we're born into torture.
Yeah. Someone once said it like this. They were being witnessed to out in the streets, and they said, "Hey, do you know where you're going to spend eternity?" They go, "What are you talking about?" Well, did you know that you need to choose? You need to get saved in order to go to heaven, or if you don't, you're going to go to hell. And they said, "No, I didn't know that." And
Citation
so,
needed.
yeah, the person eventually asked, "Well, what would have happened if I never found out?" Well, God would have still accepted you because you never knew. What the fuck you tell me for then?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not even in the Bible. That's extra biblical people making themselves feel good. Like
Right. Yeah. See, but that's so. But there's one, and this is like a super like way like fundamentalist version I've heard is this Christian apologist said, "Well, here's the thing: God gives us enough information about His existence to condemn us." But
Yeah.
not enough to save us. That's why it's our responsibility. Because he said, yeah, if that was the case, that like if you just never knew anything at all, like God would accept you. But then if we actually presented the gospel to you and then you just rejected it, it's like, yeah, if that was the case, then we should be evangelizing to no one. But he's like, no, but God gave us enough information to condemn us, but not enough to save. That's why it's our job. Like, well, okay, that sounds like a nice answer to like why you should
does it?
evangelize, but it's so fucked up.
Well,
Like,
it has to be. See, that answer only applies to people who would be thinking on those terms. We can't all
mhm.
say that we all thought on those terms.
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't wake up every day and go, "I wonder how all this started. I'm so curious about this."
If you were autistic as a child, you did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't fit the whole population. So
Right,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
so again, that's why I
hmm
said there's so many things we'd have to filter through in order to find this
Right,
God and this Jesus.
right.
And,
Yeah.
and what
So,
do we
because
what do we say about? Let's use this is what broke me from
okay,
the belief of hell. So a young little Muslim girl grew up in Islam all her life. Her parents are good people. Her neighbors are nice. Her school is nice. She's enjoying her life. She has never had an issue. She's 12 years old. 13. She's sitting in a cafe one day having some coffee. No, I'm sorry. I used to use her as a 16. Being 12 in a cafe by yourself probably doesn't work. But she's
Yeah.
16 years old. She's sitting in the cafe having some coffee, doing some studying. Someone walks up to her and hands her a Christian tract. And she said, "What is this?" And goes, "Oh, yeah, this is a tract about Jesus. God bless you. Okay, bye." And that's the only encounter she has. So you want me to believe that this young girl who for 16 years of her life has known nothing but Allah and Islam is supposed to take this track, and this track is supposed to erase and convince her that 16 years of her history is meaningless because she doesn't have Jesus.
But as you see, there's a picture with like the valley with the cliffs, and the cross is the bridge between. And
Right.
Like, look, and I know,
one
like,
track
my
has to do that for her. That this one
right.
track, this has to do it because she's gonna go before the throne, and she's gonna say, I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know," and God's gonna say, "Oh, you knew, you
he's
were
gonna be like, "I sent you that shitty
Like-
comic book."
you were."
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
God's like, look,
You
I
were
know, like,
16,
you're in
you
your
were sitting in that cafe, and I sent someone to show you the way, and you rejected me.
because I know, like, accepting this like poorly drawn comic of this like cheesy as fuck gospel message, if you would have accepted it, like your entire family would have stoned you to death. But like, how dare you not? It's like, what the fuck?
And not to mention, she was happy with Islam and Allah. She was happy with it. Her life was okay. Her parents' life was okay. She saw no need to shake it up, So that's when it started falling apart for me. Like, there is no way possible. See, I think what Christians, the majority of Christians must think is that everyone's sitting in church on Sunday like they are. Hearing the gospel message like they are. So they can't fathom how someone doesn't want their God and their Jesus. What do you mean you don't want Jesus?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's where we get, like, if you've heard like C.S. Lewis and his whole like, well, hell is locked from the inside. So that was like everyone who goes to hell chose it. That's what they wanted. It's like, no. Well,
Now,
so first of all,
on
here's
the
my problem with
topic
the
of
whole like.
choice,
Yeah, first of all, my problem with the whole hell is locked from the inside. So first of all, does that mean that if we actually want to, like, if we are presented with the picture of heaven and hell, and like, I kind of hate God, just send me to hell. And then I get there, like, oh, this fucking sucks. Let me out. Like, does that mean I'm allowed to do that? Or, but here's the thing: if it's locked from the inside, but the Bible also says that Jesus holds the keys to hell.
and death.
So did he just like lock it on his way out
Yeah.
and like took the key, and now we're just like fucked?
And okay, so back to the Jesus, right? In my belief being an asshole. So I'm sorry, Jesus. You're just okay with what your dad is doing? See, here's the issue, right? With the Jesus thing for me too. They say the Christian belief is that Jesus was with the Father from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Christian apologists love to try to separate the God of the Old Testament from the God Jesus revealed. That's their biggest argument. That's not the God Jesus revealed. Okay. Well, they say, the same apologists will say that God was with Jesus from the beginning. The scriptures say God's with Jesus from the beginning, reconciling the world back to him. Me and my Father are one, in the beginning was me, da-da-da. So if that's true, doesn't that make Jesus 100% complicit with everything the Father, God, that God did in the Old Testament? He was right there. He was 100% complicit.
Yeah.
And
if he is God, he did all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And if Jesus was trying to show us a different God, then why didn't why didn't he say, hey, all that stuff they said about God in the Old Testament, none of it's true. None of it's true. He didn't cause a flood. He didn't, call genocide over and over and over again. He didn't do this. Never, not once did Jesus say that wasn't God. Moses was high. These folks were writing this stuff. They don't know what they was talking about. That was not God at all.
And also, speaking of which, like,
falling from the sky, they were just high all the time.
No, but here's the thing: like, based on like there actually has been like archaeological evidence like of like cannabis at like ritual sites for like ancient Israelites. So Moses may have actually been high.
It was
Very well possible.
It was,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
a real
likely
thing.
the
But
anointing oil.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
there was no moment where Jesus removed him and God away from those writings.
right,
Jesus pointed to those old writings. He pointed to Jonah. He pointed
right.
to Noah. He pointed
Hmm.
to Moses. So he never separated this God
I'm putting this back up. Yeah,
from those writings. He never did that. Never. So
yeah,
don't give me this bullshit about Jesus showed us who God really is, how loving God really is. No, he didn't. He didn't. Just
yeah.
because Jesus came by and said some shit supposedly, and none of this stuff
Hmm.
Jesus said predates the Bible. It was Jesus didn't say anything original. If you take the best thing he may have said, love
No.
your neighbor as you love yourself. That was already in circulation. No one knew to do that already. So, like, what's the
Yeah,
point?
Yeah,
Like,
Rabbi
really?
Hillel did
yeah,
that like hundreds of
yeah,
years before that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
even the
Plus,
stuff he supposedly
yeah.
said that points to humanity treating humans better, this stuff was already in circulation.
Yeah. Plus, I would even argue that that's been improved upon because, like called like the golden rule, like
Right.
treat others as you
Exactly.
would have them treat you. But I've seen it improved on like what they call like the platinum rule. It's like no, don't treat others how you want to be treated. Treat others how they want to be treated.
Yeah. Yeah.
That like that's so much
And
better.
why has
Yeah.
humanity outpaced the morality of that God in that book?
Hmm.
Why did we have to say, you know what, slavery's not good? We shouldn't be owning people.
Yeah.
We shouldn't. I
Yeah.
mean, because the last
Because
account, Paul is saying,
Jesus never said that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Paul, Jesus' boy, like, yeah, well, you got slaves. Slaves obey your masters.
Hmm.
Make sure you
Yeah.
do it.
And Jesus even used slavery as an example in
Yeah.
some of his
So
parables. Yeah.
humanity came along the way. Humanity said, you know what, we're not stoning our children to death anymore. No, we're not doing
Right. Right.
Humanity said,
Right.
no, we're not, no. If my
Yeah.
brother's wife, if my brother dies, I'm not going to get his wife. I don't want his wife. No, I don't, no. Now I understand there's some cultures that still do that stuff, but overall, humanity says, no, that we're not doing that stuff. So there was never any revisions by that God coming back itself saying, don't, that was bad. Yeah, don't,
Hmm.
never.
Yeah. Because even the parts like where Jesus did kind of like revisit and maybe like reframe or just outright refute some of the law, like there's that famous passage like in the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus said, "Okay, you have heard it said,
Right.
but
You've already
I
said, but
say,"
I said,
but in those cases he's actually making it more strict
yeah,
because he's saying like,
Yeah.
"Okay, you've heard it said don't murder," but I'm saying don't even hate your brother. You've heard it said like yeah, I don't remember what all of them was, but he was basically saying things like, "Oh, like don't commit adultery." But I'm saying even lusting after a woman is the same thing as adultery.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
or
yeah. So
yeah, I mean,
even
because
he
but
made
the
it
whole
harder to
yeah,
be human.
yeah, because ask anyone,
You know
like,
how
because
much I
like
would struggle with the fact that I would see a pretty woman and think, oh shit, I
Your,
just sinned.
your
yeah.
brain's on
Also, Kyle,
autopilot.
like
It just does that. Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Also, Kyle, honestly, like so Jesus said that like hating someone is just the same as murdering them. But like honestly, like which would you rather? Me say I hate you or me murder you?
Yeah, give me
Like
the
those are
hate.
the same, right?
Yeah, give me the hate. Give me the hate. I want to live. I'll be
Yeah,
good.
or like
Kyle, I
someone you
hate
love,
you.
like
Okay,
like
I'll be over here, but I can still live, right? Yeah, I'll go over there. You with your hate, you go over there. I'll go over here. I'm still living though. Yeah.
yeah, or the same as or even like extend that to like people you love, like your family, your friends. I'm like, would I rather like I don't. Fortunately, I don't think I've ever heard someone say they hate my kids because like my kids are fucking awesome. But if someone were to just say I hate your daughter, I wouldn't be like, oh no, she's basically dead. It's like
Right.
that's like
Now,
not yeah.
here's my last piece of why I don't think Jesus is worth the salt he gets. If the story is true, and if Revelation is decoded the way most end timers decode Revelation, isn't Jesus coming back to wipe away 2/3 of the population?
just the
Oh, at
bad ones,
least
though.
yeah.
I mean,
With
isn't he coming back to just personally
Hmm.
destroy to Jesus?
like in a wine
Jesus.
press.
Yeah.
Yeah, squish this
So
all out and make
why are we
awesome
not
wine or
talking about
something.
that Jesus, that the Savior is coming back to wipe the earth clean?
Yeah. the nice Jesus is
Yeah,
like, yeah,
the Jesus
yeah,
who showed us who the Father really is. You know.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I always try to remind people about that. That wait a minute, you
Mhm.
keep putting just Jesus on the pedestal that he was so good and he was so great and he's so loving, he's so kind. Well, have you read Revelation?
The love seems
Right.
temporary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it seemed
Or
like
even
he's
like
coming
part.
back with an
Yeah.
agenda, and this
Right.
agenda is not to be that loving, beautiful person you think he was when he was here the
Hmm.
first time. He's not coming back in that way. When he comes back, his second coming is coming to do massive destruction to the majority of humanity. Read it for yourself.
Exactly. Right. Now, so James here brings up a good point.
Yeah.
So it says, I don't know if I believe in the platinum rule. Should I treat a person suffering from alcoholism how she wants to be treated by her alcohol? I don't think so. Now, this like goes like to like a larger point where I kind of maintain like I don't think there really are any like actual hard and fast like universal principles because I think like either like if you say treat people how you want to be treated, that's not going to apply across the board. Treat people how they want to be treated, that's not going to apply across the board either. But I think, but it's a good point. Yeah, that's why I'm saying like the platinum
It's a
rule. I think
good
is
point.
better. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's better than the golden rule.
Right.
That's my thought.
When I
Yeah.
remember when I started opening my heart to humanity, right now I was horrible. I treated um, what's it called, panhandlers, horrible, like they're
Mm.
dirt of the earth. I looked down on them. Get away from me,
Mm-hmm.
And I was a pastor at the time. I treated them horribly. But as I started opening my heart to humanity after Christianity,
Yes.
that
After
same that
Christianity, I love
same
that. Yeah.
issue would pop up in my head. Well, wait a minute, they're asking for $1. They're going to take it and go, buy alcohol or put it together, get some drugs. And I said, you know what? If my dollar helps them get what they want, so they don't have to rob someone and terrorize someone, then I think I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
You know, that's how
Good
I
point.
started. That's how I started looking at it. Because if they're going to get the money somehow,
Yeah.
and if it might mean bringing trauma to another person, and if my dollar helps them get that fifth of liquor quicker, then so be it. So be it. Because
Right.
if you're only
Yeah.
going to hurt yourself with it, then fine. But if you're going to hurt other people to try to get it, and I could have stopped it by giving you that $1 so you can go get that fix.
Or hurt yourself worse.
That's how I look at it.
Because they're like,
Yeah.
like doing favors, like sexual favors for cash on the street or something, like to get the money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that question, like the platinum rule in areas where it doesn't work, or if you applied it, you could be doing more harm.
Right. Right.
Maybe we don't need to pick which person we're doing the best for. Like, what if we pick the thing that is like communally the best?
Mm.
Because you're like I wouldn't want to directly buy somebody like alcohol or drugs, right? If they've got a problem, because that violates who I am. Sure, it might help them out according to them. So try to find something that is the best for the most people possible involved. That reminds me, there's a lot of things in the Jesus story. There was like a lot of different things going on. In a way, there was like proto-humanism. In other ways, there was like almost like proto-Satanism baked in there with the punishment and coming back to like thrash everybody who doesn't agree with the person doing the thrashing. And there's a little bit of like racist friendly stuff in there where he tells that woman, I came for the Jews, you're a dog.
You're a dog.
Yeah, and she's like, but even dogs need to eat. And he's like, this dog's funny. He's like,
Yeah.
I will bless her.
Like, I like the cut of your jib, bitch.
Yeah. Let me help this dog because her faith is something else.
Yeah, man. So
people were trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and then it just got finalized, and it was not finished.
Yeah.
Man, all right. So
I know that Jesus gives people hope. And I say this, even though I think Christianity is a piece of shit as a system,
mm-hmm.
I do say to people, if Christianity or Jesus is helping you be a better person because you can't see yourself better without it, then by all means, whatever method you need to be a better person, go after it. I don't want to take that away from you. But I would love for you to know that you can be that better person as yourself by yourself. I would love for you to
Hmm.
know. I
Right.
would love for you to gain the self-confidence within yourself and the self-determination within yourself and say, you know what, I can do this because I want to do this. And I don't
Right.
need any add-ons or additives or anything like that to make it happen. But if you feel like you can't, you have to have your Jesus. You have to cling unto your Jesus, and it's helping you be kinder, be nicer, be more loving, be more kind. Then by all means, keep your Jesus.
Right. Yeah. Because that's one of the things. Like, this is an accusation I've heard, and like atheists, like non-believers, like of all stripes, have got this will be like accused of being like evangelists, like for atheism or for non-belief
And
or
we're not.
whatever. And
We're not.
but also, like, at the same time, I'm like, okay, so what? What's wrong with that? Like, if I'm living a certain way that I think is better than where I was before, why would I not want to tell people about that? But with the whole like, oh, you're trying, because I've also been accused of like, well, you're trying to take people's faith away from them when that's what's like giving them hope and like keeping their lives together and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, first of all, like, don't give me that power. Like, I don't
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
exactly.
actually have that power. So if you lose your faith because of something I said, like, is that me actually taking away your faith, or
Yeah,
is it I'm just presenting you with new information, your brain is processing it and coming
yeah,
to a different conclusion? Like, that's you, like, that's not me.
yeah. You were
Like, the
already there. You were already there.
yeah, the
Yeah,
illustration I like to use is like, say like there's a dog in a house. Like, okay, so the dog is either happy to be in that house or he's not. So like, if the dog
right.
is happy to be in that house, you can open the front door. That dog's gonna be like, oh, that's nice. I'm happy, like sitting here in my little bed eating my food. But if that dog is not happy and you open that door, he's bolting out.
Yes,
So honestly, like, so if I open your door and your dog runs away, is that my fault for opening the door, or is that your
right.
fault for not
Yeah,
making that a good home for the dog? Or
right,
is that the dog's fault for not liking his home or whatever? Yeah.
right.
So first of all, like, I don't give myself that kind of power, and like, you shouldn't give me that power either. But here's what I like to say is, because like I said, like, if people call me an evangelist for atheism, like, I don't really mind, because I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I think like this has made my life better. Why wouldn't I want to tell other people about it? And like, I'll leave it up to them. I mean, I don't force anyone to stop
Right.
believing.
Yeah, well, I think you're.
I
If you,
also
if
believe
you,
like you can't really choose what you believe anyway,
yeah,
so I can't force you to believe a thing. You either believe it or you're not, or you don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you would consider yourself that, it's a different kind of evangelism. Like, you're not pushing it down anyone's throat.
Right.
You're not
Hmm.
making it. You're not trying to make this an atheist nation. This is an atheist nation,
Right.
and kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You're not
Hmm.
trying to mandate it to be put on school walls. There is no God.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
These
that
are
would
the
be
10
terrible.
rules of why there's no God.
Yeah.
You put these on your
Right.
schools right now. You know. So if
Yeah.
you are,
Hmm.
you're just doing it from a place of your own sharing of your own story, your own ideas and beliefs.
Right. Yeah.
Now, atheism gets a bad rap because the people on the other side think that we are a belief system, and we're not. We're not a belief
Right.
system. We don't pray to anything. We don't read anything, anything's book. We don't worship anything. We're not a belief system. We don't put any faith in atheism. Like, oh,
No, but actually, I'm told we worship like Richard Dawkins and stuff.
oh,
But
okay. You have your personal idols. Okay, no problem. Well,
but
atheism as
no,
a,
I
as a
don't. By the
whole
way.
it's not a belief system. We just say we're not convinced that any God that has been presented to us is God. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all we're
it's
saying.
really that
We're just
simple.
we're just
Yeah.
not convinced.
Yeah.
Whereas you are convinced what's been presented to you is a God. Therefore, you put your faith in it. You put your hope in it. You pray to it.
Hmm.
You worship it. You read its books. You give it your money. You give it your time. You give it your life. There's nothing for atheists to give to. What do we give to?
Yeah.
What do we give to? If I wanted to give an offering, who do I give it to?
I don't know, like Doctors Without Borders or like ACLU.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
at that point, I'm
Yeah.
just being a good human being, you know?
Right, exactly. So here's where I come down on, and this is like the thing I've actually said to people like Christian or like other forms of like theists or like people who still have a belief in God. It's like, because one of the things that people tell me is like, look, like I know you don't believe and like you're making it through life great, but I feel like I need my belief in God because of like the shit I've been through. And like there's people I've talked to, like they've been through, like I talk about like going through like cancer and like all this other stuff. Like people have been through like way worse shit than I've been through. Like I fully recognize that. And they say like, look, like I just don't think I can make it through the things that I have to go through like without God. So what I tell them is like, look, I get that. And again, like this is not me pushing it. This is me just putting it out there. Like take it or leave it. I tell people like, look, all these things that you think and that all these things that you have already made it through, that you say, I could not have made it through that without God. What I love to tell them is, okay, but here's the thing. If there is no God, you did.
Right, exactly. You made it through. That's exactly what I tell people too. You know, you made it through. You just attribute what got you through to a God or a Jesus. But you actually did it, you know.
Right.
My grandfather, before he passed, he had smoked ever since I was a little boy. I'd always seen him smoke. My mother asked him one day, hey, you know, I haven't seen you smoke. He goes, yeah, I just stopped. I didn't want to smoke anymore. Now, most pastors would probably preach and tell you that you need Jesus to stop your addiction. Well, this man said, I just didn't want to smoke anymore. I just stopped, you know. Now, I'm sure, you know, he had his withdrawals and things like that. But the point is, he decided I didn't want to smoke anymore. And I'm not going to go look for Jesus or God or something else to help me. I just don't want to do this anymore. And I just believe that's what happens. We decide, you know, we get hit with a challenge and we may be saying, God, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. But you do know, because you after you say that, you say, well, I'm going to fight this thing, you know. I had a dear friend, he's my age, 2 years younger than me. He got COVID when COVID was here, or, you know, when COVID was bad, still here.
Right.
And he was hospitalized, and all over his social media page, people were posting, praying, or we're praying. Now this guy was a counselor. He ran a at-risk home for youth, a Christian at-risk home for youth. So people would get, you know, in a situation and they would come live on his compound. So he was doing good work for the Lord. But I won't get into all that right now. But my point is, so all these people were praying for him. They were going to his page, posting testimonies of all the good that Steve did for them, so on and so forth. So he got sick. He went to the hospital. He was on a respirator, that whole thing. And all he was flooded with, we're praying. And he died. And I thought, I wonder what would have happened if all of that energy towards prayer to a God was pointed at him. And we were telling him every day, all day, Steve, you can do this. Steve, you can fight this. Steve, you can beat this. Steve, you can do this. I wonder if the outcome would have been different. I like to think it would have, but maybe that just fits my own bias.
Yeah.
But I am curious.
I mean, it couldn't have hurt.
Right. Yeah. It couldn't have hurt. Right. To feed that energy into him, to let him know that he could beat this, versus his hope being in a Jesus to do it for him.
And feeling all that support from people. Like, all of that. I was going to say trust. That's not exactly it.
Because like I did, maybe you don't fight as hard when you think God's got this.
Right.
You know, I could have kept my house looking back. I could have kept my car looking back. I could have kept my life in somewhat of a much better state had I not surrendered it all to God's going to do it. There's no question about that. No question.
Yeah, because I'm even thinking like going back, like in my experience, like going through cancer, like I said, like I still believe in God. Like I think partway through, like going through cancer is maybe the time when I said, okay, I still believe in God. I don't think I'm like a Christian anymore. But the thing I even said at the time, and I'll still say now, like, he's like going through that. Like, I was very, like, for people who follow me, like on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, like, I was posting about it all the time, like giving updates, just saying what was going on, like, keeping my spirits up. And the thing everyone kept telling me is like, oh man, you're being like so positive and brave through all of this. Like, I don't know how you're doing it. And like, well, I mean, I can tell you exactly how I did it. Like, first of all, again, looking back, like probably the whole like autism thing and like things just not really sinking in. But also, like, there's this meme I saw that I totally relate to. It said like, people keep telling me I'm like so brave for like being open about all my struggles and everything I'm going through. It's like, no, it's not brave. It's just like shit just keeps happening to me and I can't shut up about it. And
Yeah.
but really, what it really boiled down to is like, because like every time I would share something about like, oh, here's how my doctor's appointment went today, or here's how I'm feeling today, and here I'm feeling nervous about like these scans coming up. Every time I would post something, I would just get inundated with all kinds of love and support from people.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, I'll keep talking about it. Like, so like people are like, I don't know how you do it. It's so brave. Like, it didn't feel brave at all. It's just like,
Kind of felt like,
because
what else am I gonna do?
yeah. Or like another friend of mine who was going through cancer at about the same time. She's also recovered, doing great. Shout out to Chelsea, love you, buddy. I don't know if she's watching, but I loved her reaction. Like, people telling me, like, I don't know how you're keeping so positive. She's like, what am I supposed to do? Just sit at home and wait to die? like, what do you want? Like,
Yeah.
but
You
but
know,
yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
my
Because I forgot where I was going anyway. So yeah.
my last point I'll say towards me uh, kind of wishing that Christianity wasn't what it is that Christianity says that you have to believe in God, right? That's what
Mhm.
this whole thing, John 3:16, is really all supposed to be about. Whosoever believes.
Right.
Well, if it's really just about belief, then why doesn't it stop there? Why can't it end at belief? Why church? Why prayer? Why giving? Why all the dedication? Why all the worship? Why all the service? If it's really about belief, if you're going to stand in front of a throne one day of judgment, and God's going to look into that book and say, did you believe? And your name is there. Is God really going to ask you what church you went to? How many times you read your Bible?
Mm.
How many times you went to worship service? How many times you thanked Him for your food? If it's really supposed to be about belief, why doesn't it stop there for every single person who says they believe?
Fantastic question.
Well, see that's sorry, I'm gonna be snarky. But like one of the comebacks people will have is I think in James, faith without works is dead. So that is seen as like, okay, well, we have to do the works because otherwise your faith is dead. And
That's not what Jesus said, right?
no,
So, again, if it's all supposed to be about John 3:16, then we can remove all the other add-ons from there, right? And
Mhm.
if again, if the emphasis is on when you stand before that throne of judgment, He's going to look to see if your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. And your name gets written there the moment you believe. So I understand where the apologetics will come in and say, hey, but it's relationship. And oh, well, you don't get married and not talk to your wife anymore, do you? And then,
it's like, when did I marry
my
Jesus?
wife is real.
Yeah.
Like, I see my
Yeah.
wife every day. I touch her. I lay next to her. She's real. So it'd be kind of
Mhm.
stupid of me not to talk to her every day. I don't see God. I don't see Jesus. So we can kind of, leave that
Mhm.
comparison because it
Yeah.
doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
You know. So that's my thing. Just goes to show how much they've added onto it. It's not about belief. It's about
Mhm.
service. service to the system and to the church.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this really is all about. It has really nothing to do with belief.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because that's one way to look at it. Like with like the New Testament, like in particular, it's like like the Gospels and like what Jesus said, like you said, like believe on me and I'll be and you'll
Yeah.
be saved. But you could also make the argument, like in
What
other
does that
parts of the
even
Gospels,
mean?
he actually, yeah. But you could also make the argument, like in other parts of the Gospels, Jesus seemed to put more emphasis on works. But it's almost like all
Well,
the Gospels were written by
if
different authors with
yeah,
different agendas, and there was
we
no
we can we
real,
can say
yeah,
that again.
yeah,
We're talking about my eternity, right?
mm,
That's only about belief. Now, if we want to call works just how we treat other humans and what we do good for other people, I'm okay with that,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
but do I have to go to church every Sunday? Do I really have to read this book all the time? Do I really got to do all this? I mean, I'm talking about all the other stuff
Yeah.
that's added on to after belief. Because my mother taught me how to be kind to others. She taught me how to be good to others. She taught me how to help people. So that to me is just life, right? But
Mhm.
she also taught me you got to go to church. You got to pray. You got to fast. You got to trust God. You got to give God your all.
Right,
Da, 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 da,
right.
da, da, you know, and this is after she told me you got to get saved. So why didn't it stop at, do you believe in God? Yes, mommy, I do believe God is real. Okay, go live life. you know,
Yeah, right. Because also like because if God is real and if He is behind all of reality, like just living in reality should be connecting with God,
should
right?
do. I
Yeah,
mean,
but yeah,
a
but it's
good
almost like so you had Jesus
God.
like in the gospel saying his thing like, oh, it's all about believe in me and you'll be saved. But then like the whole like rest of the New Testament is like, okay, yeah, I know Jesus said that, but there's a lot more we want to say
Yes.
too.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
have to add that point because
yeah,
this system needs to be supported,
right.
right?
Hmm.
We need to support this system. And again, if we go back to the giving part, if the majority of the money is coming from the people in the pews, you take away the people in the pews, you've got no system. A
Hmm.
pastor cannot go to a mega church building and stand up in front of empty pews and keep that building open.
Right.
It's an
So you
expensive
have to
building.
convince people that they need this, that you can't separate this from your life.
Hmm.
And you have to give them that reason to keep coming back. If Christianity really was about convincing people that they are sons of God and revealing to people that they are sons of God, and if Christianity is really about Jesus trying to show people that the kingdom is within them and they're already loved and they're already, if it's really about that, then again, why aren't you releasing people? Why are you keeping people in bondage and in jails of churches and things? Because you
Hmm.
should be pushing them to get to know the God in them. That's it. And done.
Yeah.
And that's
Right?
what Jesus seemed to be getting at.
Yeah.
The
So if that's really what it's about, then again,
yeah,
the
like the
church
wellspring of living
system,
waters in you.
Christianity, it all falls short of actually getting people there because it knows, Tommy, Matt, me, if we stopped our deconversion journey at, hey, I know God's living in me, I'm good. I've learned all I need to learn from Christianity, I'm good. God's living in me, I'm a son, I'm forever saved, I'm forever redeemed, I'm good. If it stops there at every person, again, the system dies, church dies.
Yep.
So it's not about that. It's not about the kingdom in you. It's not about the God living in you. It's not about any of that. It's about keeping you subjective and subjected to a,
Mm.
inferior mindset so that you can continue to need it. Why do people have to go to the altar every week? Why? I mean, I was in church.
Mm.
You guys were in church. You see the same people go down there every week to the altar calls. Same people. Same people. Why do I have to keep thanking Jesus for saving me, something he supposedly did 2,000 years ago? Why? I mean, wasn't the one thank you, Jesus, enough? Why I got to go tell your ass thank you every week? Why do I lift my hand? Oh, thank you, God. You've been so good to me, God. I love you, God. Thank you for. Why the fuck you got to hear this every week?
Yeah, it's almost like you're needing to say it to like just keep reminding yourself that it's real.
Yeah,
Well,
that
and
Yeah.
it's real, that you are worthy of it. It keeps you in an
Hmm.
indentured servant or slave to it because you feel indebted. So they have to keep telling you what God has done for you, what Jesus has done for you, what how He saved you. So you stay indebted to it because as long as you feel indebted to something, you're going to keep groveling before its feet.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
there's so like when people go to church, another benefit. Well, it's like it's like it meets a need, but it's not really a benefit. You go and you have like your human emotions collectively at someone else when like it would be healthier to have those emotions at each other.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
So you're getting that outlet in a group. Hey, I'm having feelings, these big feelings around other people, and because of evolution and stuff, like we need that, but we're just having the feelings around each other, not really with each other. Uh,
Mm.
I do also think there's like kind of a connection. People have a collective emotion together. There is a connection people feel to something bigger than them. But I think it's like the collective human experience at the same
yeah.
time people are connected to.
It's
Uh,
it's the ball game. It's the Michael Jackson concert.
yeah,
It's the energy of the environment that you're in. You lend
Right.
your energy to the environment if you choose.
man, you got to see some of the videos from our old church. You like the energy of the experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
like there were the Super Bowl of preaching happened there where we had dueling pastors and it was a whole thing.
yeah.
And uh, yeah,
Yep.
no,
And the
sorry,
bigger
that's a
the church,
tangent in
the
my
bigger
brain
the
about the
budget,
show.
you can really pizzazz it all up.
Oh yeah,
With the smoke and the lights and the stage and the whole
Hmm.
dramatics of it all. You can really pizzazz it up a whole lot. And and we knew this as pastors. We know this. I knew this and pastors know this. If I'm about to do an altar call, I'm not asking for the band to be playing the fastest, loudest song. I need them bring it down,
that
Hmm.
emotional
Hmm.
priming. Yeah,
bring it down.
Yep. Yep.
You dim those lights. You start talking soft. You tell people to close their eyes, and you start to draw them in emotionally. You've had a rough week. Things have been tough. You fought this week to make it through. And you're here now, and God is here with you, and He's going to meet your needs. I
Hmm.
need you to come on down here and let God meet your needs. I know you're tired. I know it's been a struggle. And the music is playing so ever so sweetly and softly in the background. And people with their eyes closed, they're thinking about, damn, those kids were bad this week. Man, my husband got on my nerves. Man, rough week, work was rough, and I just need a refresher. I just need a refresher. I just need a refresher. You're
Hmm.
in. You're in. You're going to come down there. The crocodile tears are going to start to fall. You're going to fall out in the presence, and the other people are going to say, "Ooh, I want some of that too."
yeah, that's what
And
hooked me was the
I
feelings
just
I
put on a
saw in
show.
people.
I just did a routine, and I can get people in that moment. And my heart is so far away from a God you wouldn't even believe it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the same skills. Yeah. But real quick, I want to put up a question or comment here from James again, saying, I don't know if the why questions are as profound as they sound. I don't know exactly what you're getting at. So if you care to elaborate, please do. But
I,
as Matt said, but what if they are? But anyway, also real quick, I've moved on to like third drink, but like
I'm working on two.
working on the non-alcoholic beers because
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
'cause at my age, like any more than two, I feel like absolute shit the next day. But yeah, it's pretty good still. Anyway,
I'm on Neapolitan milk stout right now, which is very
nice.
good.
Yeah. So, all right. So Kyle, there are like so many other like directions I'm wanting to go, but I'll leave this up to you. Like, I don't know if you need to get going soon or if
Well,
you're,
yeah, I probably should. Wow, 10. I'll go 10:30. We're almost to. Yeah, I probably should
yeah,
go fix me something to eat. So,
yeah,
so
definitely. But
yeah,
yeah, man, like I said, there's so many other things like that I'd love to talk with you about. So if you're cool coming on again, we may.
Listen,
Excellent.
I'm down. So
All
I've
right.
enjoyed
Well, then
myself. You guys are great. Thank you for letting me talk so much. A former
of course.
pastor getting a stage to rumble off and talk forever. The funny thing is, if you meet me out in a social setting, I am the most quietest, standoffish person there
Yeah.
is.
Well, same here, actually.
You know,
Yeah. I'm
so,
like very introverted,
yeah,
like
very,
very, like,
very. I'm
yeah.
an observer. I'm quiet.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about something I really believe in or I'm really passionate, then I just keep
Yep.
going. So,
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I'm the
and I'm
same way.
passionate.
As
I'm
you,
passionate about humanity
ah,
discovering the goodness and the value that's in you as you.
oh,
You know,
yes.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
passionate about that.
Yeah. That's why we named the show what it is. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
because honestly, like, funny story about that, because I told you earlier, Kyle, about like the podcast that me and Matt started, like back when we were still like Christians. It was called Three Beer Gospel. Partially because, like, if you're familiar with the phrase like a 2 beer hang, you ever heard that phrase? It's basically like, okay, we're hanging out,
It's
it's
a
going
white
to be
guy
like
thing.
for like
Oh, okay, okay.
having like 2 beers, so it's like that length of time, like hanging out, have a couple beers. But me and Matt found whenever we hung out, it was usually 3 beers. But
And
so
things
and
got like
also like
really interesting at 3. Like the discussions got like really esoteric for some reason.
Yeah.
yeah, but also real quick, like B.S. Lewis finally showing up. Thank you. Quieter than a moose. Yes, you are. You are quieter than a moose, because we've heard from Dr. Kip, who's Canadian. The moose, they can give
They
you
do
the
what they
business.
want.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny. Like I said, we started the show as a like Christian. It was supposed to be like a Christian deconstruction podcast. Like we were very influenced by, like, I'm sure you're familiar with, and you've been guest on the Heretic Happy Hour. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
like one
Yeah, I
of
was
our.
part of that podcast for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, that's how I got connected with Derek.
Yes.
Was he used to be on that podcast? We
Yeah, yeah.
became friends in like the Facebook group
Definitely.
associated with that.
Keith
But
and
anyway,
Matt. Yeah, yeah.
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 Hmm.
But we started the podcast. But then after, I think it was by our 4th episode, we were like, I don't think we're Christians anymore. And then we're like,
That
oh
went
yeah, okay,
quick.
yeah, we're definitely atheists. But then we did like another like 2 or 3 episodes. We're like, okay, if we're atheists, like, is any atheist gonna be interested in a podcast with gospel in the name? But if is anyone Christian looking for a podcast with gospel in the name gonna be wanting to listen to a couple atheists talk about stuff? So when we started doing this show, again, huge shout out to Derek Day, who's one of the big reasons we even have this show. But we're like, what are we going to call it? Well, we figured, okay, the humanity. That's going to pretty much cover everything. So like, no matter like where our views like change or how we go, like we're still human and we're still all about humanity. So, I mean, unless I just become like a complete and total like nihilist misanthropist of like fuck humans and everything. I mean, I don't see that happening necessarily, but
And
yeah.
God has probably been an idealized human the whole time. So
there's that too. So, but yeah, like I said, if definitely love to have you back on sometime. Like, there's so many other things I want to talk about, like the whole like you were talking about essentially like the divine hiddenness argument. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Or like essentially like, well, if God wants us to get to know him, like, well, where the fuck is he? Because that was
Right.
probably like the biggest thing for me deconverting. And
Right.
I'd love, like, again, like love to hear more of your thoughts on just
Right.
like the general like deconstruction scene and like culture and like all that, and like how like I'd say like in a lot of ways like progressive Christianity kind of annoys me just the same as like super fundamentalist Christianity, just in different ways. And even things like with your interview with that lady Leslie, and like how she was like, well, I still like look to Jesus to see what God's like. And my question is like, but why? Like, but
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah.
I think Tommy's running through the notes right now.
what's that?
It sounds like you're speed running through the notes that you sent earlier.
Well, though I didn't have them up. This is all just off the top of my head, but it's because those notes came from the top of my head, so it makes sense. But yeah,
to what James was saying, the why questions may not be as profound as we think, but I think they are as simple as a why. You know, I think they're maybe not meant to be profound. They're just meant to be simple. Like, well, why?
yeah.
You know,
There
I
you
need God. Well, why? Well, I need Jesus. Well, why? I need to
Mm.
look to him for, but really why?
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
when we start asking the whys, then if you can draw the answers out of people, well, because I just don't think I'm good enough. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can explore that a little bit. Or
Yeah.
because I just believe I really need God in my life. Well, why? Let's keep asking the question why, and let's see if we can get to the root of these things. And perhaps if we get to the root of these things, then perhaps there's real help for people. I
Mm.
wouldn't mind if Christianity was helpful. I wouldn't be against it if it were helpful. If people really
Yeah.
did get healed, if people really
Hmm.
did get
Hmm.
set free, if people really did become what Christianity proclaims you become through Jesus, why would I fight that? If
Yeah.
God's going to heal you, you're about to die, and you can say a prayer of faith, and God's going to heal you. Why would I be against that exactly? Like, yo, want me to pray with
Yeah.
you? Like, yeah, let's. What are you waiting for? Let's pray. So
Yeah.
I, you know, why do you need to pray? Well, because I believe. But why? So let's get to some of these whys, because maybe we get to the
Hmm.
whys, then we can see the flaws, and maybe if we see the flaws, then we can find better solutions for people.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I guess to borrow like the phrase kind of made famous by Christopher Hitchens in like his book God is Not Great, like the subtitle being like how religion poisons everything. The way I look at that, like it's not it, 'cause I think a lot of people take phrases like oh religion poisons everything is in like there's nothing good about religion. Like but the way I look at it is like the poison of religion is not that there is no good in it.
Right,
To me, the poison of religion is that it says it is the only source of
right,
that good.
right.
So, yeah, so that's
Arsenic,
why,
yeah,
yeah.
arsenic is a poison, but they say we all have traces of arsenic in our body.
It's in apple seeds. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
Hmm.
take arsenic at a high dose, you're gonna die. You know, but you can survive with small traces of it in your body.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
there's some good elements of religion. I'm sure there's some good elements that could be pointed to towards Christianity. I'm sure, but overall, again,
Hmm.
because of where you have to start, it's toxic and it's deadly,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it
because,
does more
yeah.
damage than good to the makeup of humanity as I see it. And that's how I see
Right.
it.
Yeah, because that's something I would love to like talk with you about more, like get your thoughts on, because I guess that was one of my issues with the whole like deconstruction movement. It's like they were still like trying to find something, like again, I hate to pick on that lady like Leslie who was interviewing because, like I said, I have nothing against her, but she was just like saying so many things that like brought to mind like that I would like kind of like latch onto with her saying like but I still look to Jesus when I'm like okay, but why? It's like so for me like with the whole when people start like deconstructing and saying, well, this is how I view God, like the thing that I would say to people and like would really want to say to people is like, okay, you're actually doing what like a lot of the like super fundamentalist Christians are accusing you of doing, like saying it as a pejorative, like, when people say like making a God in your image,
Yeah.
like that's what you're doing. Like, because you're looking at the Bible and saying, okay, I accept these parts, but I reject
Right.
these parts. Like,
Right.
okay, so what I'm saying is, okay, realize what's actually going on here. Like, stop giving the reference to the book and realize what's actually going on is you are bringing yourself to the book.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
you're not, you may be getting some things from it, but overall, it's like you're really just finding parts of yourself in it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're latching on to. So it's like,
Yeah.
I wish more
And
people would like realize that
yes.
and not feel like, well, I still need to give reverence to the book or I still need to give reverence to
Right.
the person
Right.
of Jesus.
Right.
Like
Right.
no, like all the things you're finding in there that you love are already in you, and you're just
Right.
seeing those reflections of
Right.
yourself from there. So realize
Right.
it's coming from you, and like yeah, I get
Right.
a little worked up
And
about that.
is the Bible a prerequisite to live? Is Jesus a
Yeah.
prerequisite to live? So none of these things are prerequisites. We don't need these in order to live, right? No one comes to this earth experience knowing who a God is. Oh, I know. These are all
Hmm.
things we're taught, we learn.
Exactly.
So if someone never picks up a Bible, are we saying that they can't make it through life? If someone never learns about Jesus, are we saying they can't make it through life and have a good, happy, successful, peaceful, loving, kind, fulfilling life?
Hmm.
We can't say that because it's not true. There's billions of people who will never pick up a Bible, who will never figure out who Jesus is, and will live happy, successful, meaningful lives. They have lived. Billions of people are doing it now. Billions of people do it when we're no longer doing it. When we're no longer
Exactly.
here. So the Bible isn't necessary. That's my point. Jesus isn't necessary. God isn't necessary. They're not necessary elements to live. So that's
Mhm.
why I ask the questions, why?
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
root why,
Good.
it's
Yeah.
either going to be God or it's not. So why not find that out? I don't
Yeah.
make.
And also, real quick to anyone like watching online, like Matt's putting like some comments in the chat. He's responding to someone on Facebook. So basically, anyone not watching on Facebook is going to have
Oh,
no
that's
idea
confusing.
what Matt's responding to. So check us out on Facebook if you want to know what the hell Matt's been talking about to these people. But anyway, but yeah,
Oh,
man.
fun.
But yeah, Kyle, man, good shit. And I guess Jimmy said it. It's like, yeah, wonderful show, man. Appreciate you. I
Thank you. I
echo
appreciate you
all of those
guys.
words and
You
all
guys
of
made me
those
very comfortable.
all of those exclamation points. But
Thank you.
but yeah, man, that's one of the things. Like, and I'll say like in closing, at least for me, which say in closing, famous last words on this show. Because as our buddy B.S. Lewis likes to, he like made fun of us, like, oh, they're wrapping up. Don't worry, there'll be another half hour, like, or something like that.
But
But
we have a guest, and Kyle needs to eat.
yes, but that's one of the things that really, like you could say, like coming off of like surviving cancer, like reevaluating everything, like that's one of the things that really to me became like primary in my life is like because for people who know me, like my interests, like things I'm into, like are very like niche. Like I found like very few people like in life that like have a lot of the like same exact interests that I do. So, but what I found is really important. It's not so much finding more people who are just like you or very much like you. I found what really counts is people who let you be you
Yeah. Yeah.
around them.
Absolutely. No question.
And that's that's why like me and Matt have been like such good friends for so long. Like I feel like I could tell Matt anything, or and same
You
with like
have.
so many other. Yeah, and I have, and same like I feel like Matt could tell me anything. It's like I could agree, disagree, or like okay, I'm glad he told me, and I'll tell him what I think. But yeah, that's yeah, just like you said, finding people who are comfortable letting you be yourself, and then obviously like extending that same grace to other people. So that's one of the reasons like Kyle, like someone like you, I'd love having on the show. Like one of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you because I kind
Thank you.
of already had that vibe from you. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like Kyle's someone like I can just be me, and I feel like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm not the
So
judgmental asshole that I used to be when I was a Christian. So, you know,
Well, that's good. Neither are we.
yeah.
yeah, right, yeah, same here. Oh yeah, I mean I
If
always
we were having this conversation, you had brought me on as a pastor, and we were in a debate mode. I would be already calculate. I would have already calculated in my mind. I'm never talking to either one of you again.
Well, that's all right.
that's all right. Like
There's a lot of Christians
yeah,
we
like
used to know that it's the same thing. So
oh yeah, even like 10. That's all right. Like it's like 10 years ago, me wouldn't want to talk to me either.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I'm getting far away from these guys that I can't. Don't ever.
Yeah. See, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things I'm able to say about myself is like at pretty much like any given point in my life, I'm able to look back and say, okay, 5 years ago, me would probably hate current me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's just how often I change. Which is probably why it's a good idea. I've never got any tattoos because I think like any like idea for a tattoo I've ever had, I currently would not think would be a very good idea.
Yeah.
So, but BS makes a good point here. Kyle may be quiet, but his tummy ain't. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right, but yeah, like I said, Kyle, it was awesome having you on. Glad this finally
Thank you.
worked out.
Thank you both.
We'll probably have to do
Thank
it
you.
again sometime.
Sure.
But
Look
again,
forward
so
to
many
it.
things I just want to like talk to you about and like
but
get
you
your
shouldn't
opinions
right
on.
now.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, any like I said, like for anyone interested in like getting to know Kyle more, following more of his stuff, I got links to his Facebook, TikTok, Instagram in the chat. I'll probably like if you want me to like throw a link to that YouTube show you were doing with Durante. What was it called?
The ex pastor calling show.
Next Pastor Call show. If I remember,
Are you
I might
on?
put a.
Are you on X right now? We're not.
I have an account. I can't remember the last time I opened it.
All right. So we won't link to that.
Yeah, I think after Musk bought it, I think that was probably the last time I opened it.
Good call.
And I wasn't much on it before that anyway, but
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, so
Nazis are us right now.
yeah. Yeah, so so links are in the description. Like I'll see if I remember to, I'll find the link to that YouTube channel that he does with Durante Lamar. But yeah, other than that, Kyle, any other parting words, parting thoughts?
I'll say this one last thing about the Jesus aspect, and
Yeah.
I know Jesus it's a safe haven for so many people. I never thought I'd be. I never thought I'd get beyond Jesus. People would ask me, Kyle, you're going pretty far with all this. Where are you going to stop? Well, I'm stopped at Jesus. I can't see myself going beyond Jesus until I realized that I said a part of this a few moments ago. Billions upon billions upon billions of people have never, will never try to figure out who Jesus is. And they will live a happy, successful, and a meaningful life. And when I realized that is a reality, I realized I didn't need Jesus, that I can do this on my own. And that's what got me beyond Jesus.
Well, there's your problem.
That's my problem, exactly. And I think that because Jesus has been the centerpiece of the whole thing for so long, for so many people, they can't see themselves going beyond Jesus. But you can, only if you want to, though. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. I'm happier beyond Jesus and God in the Bible. I'm happier, I'm more at peace, and I'm more determined and focused on me. And it just feels better for me, so maybe it won't feel as good for you. Maybe the fear and the anxiety is too much. And I'm not asking you to go there if you're not comfortable. I'm not asking you to go there at all. Only if you want to. But I'm saying if you want to, there's life beyond it. And I just think that life is better. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Your opinion happens to be correct, according to my opinion. Just saying. So. But awesome, man. Yeah. So, yeah, this was a lot of fun. Like I said, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Thank you both.
But yeah, like I said, it's good to finally like actually talk with you. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So
yeah,
glad it worked out.
We did.
So.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say what to expect next week, but I have no idea what we're doing next week. And if there's one thing I've learned whenever we start to announce like in advance on this show what we're doing in the following weeks, like some shit comes up and we end up not doing it. So I'm just going to say next week there will be things. And so come and join us or not. All right. But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks again, Kyle.
Thank you both.
All right, Matt, take us out.
All right. May your things and stuff be forever with your people.